Welcome back, everyone, to twitch.tv/PUBGOnline. It is 7 p.m. Central Time, and that means it is time for NA. Tonight, 16 teams will play in a best-of-4. A lot of good games. I'm excited. I'm ready to go. I'm joined, of course, by Mustache Dave and Porosaurus. Mr. Mustache Dave, how are you on this fine evening?
I'm doing good, man. I'm ready for tonight. We got some teams in here. Let me tell you.
Some teams in here, indeed, we do have.
Let me tell you.
Poro, how you doing, man? How you doing?
I'm good. I'm going to be honest with you. At the very beginning there, I completely forgot I was on desk, so I might have been looking at my computer screen the other way. But
What are you doing?
a little
great, man.
Yeah.
Look. Everybody's just. I'm just like so caught up in the hype behind my new favorite streamer, Little Ryan Dog, and
it's fair.
And I kind of lost track of time. But like you're saying, I mean, it's getting down to the last couple of weeks, so the performance of all these teams are going to be super important as we go forward. And I'm really looking for some of these teams that are a little bit lower in the standings to try to make that last-minute push for the top 16.
Yeah, and as always, remember, top 16 will make it into the Showdown Series. There are 40 teams in both NA and EU. Only 16 will make it in a Showdown from each. So it is definitely, you got to get top 16. 24 teams not making the cut, which is pretty huge. Now, a few of these teams in here, we got to talk about a couple of them. First of all, Envious. Not playing with Venerated, obviously. Obviously. Know that already, so we'll see who's in there tonight subbing before they find their consistent fourth. But Team Envious is a team that, in PUBG Online, they have historically been the most consistent team in North America. Lately, struggling a little bit, and it's upsetting because I know you two, as well as I know, that Envious is a top-tier team, 100%. And, when they perform in some other leagues, sometimes it goes back and forth. The luck does not always fall for you, so Envious, one of those teams to keep an eye on, because I would not be surprised to see them make a late season push. Now, Dave, for you, what's your team? Who do you think is going to push through this and try and get towards that top 16 before we get into split number 2?
Let's see. Definitely trigger happy with their new roster. I'm always going to be in their corner, regardless, day, night, rain, sun, or shine. But I'm looking for tonight, really. I don't think I've ever really said this, but Cloud9, I'm liking what they've been doing lately. So I'm going to have my eye on these guys because they are just being phenomenal at the time. They're super strong.
And it's something interesting about Cloud9 because that's one of the teams where it's just like the unfortunate moments seem to happen in PUBG Online. They have performed so well elsewhere so far. Like, they're at top 5s in pretty much every league they were in. Yeah. The past two lands, or the past land that they were at, great performance.
Killing it.
And it's just like when it came to PUBG Online, they're hitting these walls of bad luck. And I would not be surprised. Right now, 37th out of 40 in points per game. Woo! I would not be surprised, even though we're only we're halfway through the season. I would not be surprised if Cloud9 pushes all the way to the top 16. I think they're a team that can definitely do it.
All right.
Porosaurus, what about you, sir?
Well, yeah, I think you already mentioned one of the teams to keep an eye on is Team Envious, as you said, kind of performing a little bit under expectations. Well, under expectations for them. I mean, we expect a lot more out of that squad. But also, you got to keep an eye on Trigger Happy, man. Trigger Happy has just been playing so well. And I mean, I don't see that going away anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely interesting. So we got a couple to keep
especially in this lobby tonight.
Yeah.
Whoa,
here's the shots, lobby shots. I like it.
Look, it has nothing to do with the quality. Nothing to do with the quality of the teams in the lobby, but we're short a few teams. So it's going to be, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. If it's going to lead to any earlier aggression, or it's not. It's going to be a very, very slow-paced first few circles, I imagine.
Well, it's interesting. You need to take those opportunities if you have a smaller lobby, because every now and then there are teams that drop out. We don't fill those spots. So if you have an opportunity when you happen to be in the lobby with a few less squads, make sure you take advantage of that. It's very important. And I gotta give some props here to Space Station, the new Space Station team, formerly Pecadores. Now, I was not familiar with this team at all prior to Season 1 of PUBG Online, and now they've kind of stepped in and, they performed very well, heading to some LAN activities in a few weeks here. So a lot of exciting stuff for them. And I was watching HWin a little bit, man. I think HWin might be, he's a top-tier fragger in North America, and it's kind of crazy to watch. So keep an eye on Space Station Gaming tonight. I would not be surprised to see them perform very well. I think they're a team on the rise right now, 100%. And on top of that, we got to mention complete roster apocalypse all over the place. All right.
Oh man,
there is going to be. I cannot even explain this to you. Any of the viewers at home watching and anyone in the chat. There has been so much movement on the NA side of things that you will see so many players that and you are very familiar with, and they're going to be playing on a completely different team. And then you're going to sit there and be like, wait, is that? No. Wait, but he's over there. And it's very confusing. So as the analysts and casters, we'll do our very best to try and keep up with who's playing with who and all of this. But let me tell you, it is complete and utter mayhem when it comes to North America.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit. I'm apologizing in advance if I get anybody's team wrong during the cast tonight, but.
Oh yeah, Poro. Yeah.
Look, we're gonna Esquire and I are gonna do our best. We're holding hands, holding a torch, and going into this dark, dank tunnel of roster apocalypse together.
So
dark, dank.
Possible.
That is amazing. See, all right, and I want to give a shout out to one more squad to keep, to just keep in your minds. Okay, they've actually had, if I'm not mistaken, 3 weeks off in a row because we had a 2-week break, and their bye was the week beforehand. If I'm not mistaken, that's Set to Destroy. Set to Destroy came out week 1, brand new roster, punched everybody in the face. Just an amazing performance. We're like, whoa, Set to Destroy, like, what is going on here? So I would definitely keep an eye on that Set to Destroy roster. I would not be surprised VTV and the boys come out here and make some serious plays, get some serious points, because this is an opportunity for them to be like, no, we're Showdown 100%. We're getting into the Showdown series. We're competing for the 20K for North America. Boys,
So does that mean you're going to be on the Set to Destroy fan wagon all night long, like you were?
No. Hey. I got Tempo Storm in here tonight. I got Envious in here. I got 4 PUBG players, which you guys will see later who those are. I got Render in here. All right. I got Space Station Game. There's a lot of teams to support, and I'm going to support Cloud9.
Oh,
so,
me too.
That's my choice.
I'll tell you this while I'm in there casting away and you guys are just sitting there getting pampered, manicures, fed grapes. Don't sleep on Ronin. Keep your eyes on Ronin. Ronin has been playing out of their minds in PUBG Online lately. So.
This is getting pretty heated, but there's only 10 seconds left. So let's kick it into game number 1 right now with the wonderful man, Porosaurus and Esquire.
Well, hey, it's me, Porosaurus, right back again with this Game 1 action, and joining me, of course, Mr. Esquire. Esquire, how you doing, bro?
Doing good, Poro. Glad to be back here at PUBG Online, casting these NA games. But we do have our first plane coming out of the night in this first match, and look at that plane path. It's actually going to be coming out of the southwest corner, taking a very sharp angle across that, cutting off effectively a lot of this northern part of the map, Poro.
No, absolutely, for sure. I mean, let's call it what it is. It's a crappy plane. I mean, this is forcing everybody to do kind of either late drops, finding vehicles, and then having to transition into wherever their loot location may be. But you can see this southeastern side of the map looks really cluttered. That looks like a big old bowl of Skittles down there over Milta.
Yeah, that Milta Power and Milta area certainly looks congested, as we do see Trigger Happy opting for that Milta coast right there, going to the proper Milta. But yeah, Milta Power certainly having a lot of people scouting that out as they are parachuting over, trying to see where each team is landing and which areas are going to be safe. Prison looking a little bit appealing for some of these teams that didn't exactly get that Milta Power drop. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, these teams are going to be spreading out, maybe trying to take some vehicles to loot some of these northern locations, but our circle will be coming out pretty soon here.
Yeah, you can see there's about 3 teams all just parachuting along that road, there's not that many cars on that road, Esquire. There's not enough cars for 3 teams to be able to find one, and it looks like maybe there might not have been enough to find any. Okay, Filthy has found the only car on that road, so now it looks like a couple of teams are going to have to drop onto Lippo. One team might be trying to pull off to go head towards Prison. You can see Smeagol just getting to the tree in time to avoid that motorcycle from Rush, but this is gonna be interesting here. How many people are going to be able to escape? You got Wolf has found himself a buggy, so they're going to be able to get out of there. But Rush only has a 3-man motorcycle. It looks like Borjusi is going to be walking as the rest of his team make their way out of Dodge. So, yeah, already you can see it down already. Schaefer has already managed to go down to, it looks like, Imagine. This is not a good start for these teams. You would expect that there would be at least, more than 2 vehicles on that road there.
Yeah, a little bit of a chaotic start for sure. That was actually 4 PUBG players and Rush both competing for those vehicles there, a little bit west of Lipovka. We do see Imagine from Trifecta taking out Schaefer, so certainly an early loss right there for 4 PUBG players. Losing a player this early in the game, Poro, it's not what you want to have at all, especially when you're so far away that you're not able to really throw that support, as we see the rest of his team now heading into the eastern side of Yasnaya Polyana. Rush opting a little bit of a northern route from that Lipovka start where they had initially landed, but the circle is out and it is going to be favoring the eastern edge of this map, and pretty much centralized on that eastern edge, going to be leaving a little bit of water as well. So, I would expect to see this area become very crowded, considering the fact that there's not a lot of square footage to work with.
Absolutely. Well, 4 PUBG players, they may have lost a player early, but at least the zone has fallen on them. It's going to give them a little bit more time to actually loot up and get prepared before they have to move to where they want to hold down eventually. It's kind of interesting that they've decided not to go to Yasnaya and instead opting for Kamishki. Yasnaya completely empty right now, as you can see. But it looks like Rush and Trifecta and all the rest of the squads have kind of set themselves up pretty well. All our teams off to the west appear to be just doing kind of some split looting before eventually having to think about transitioning into Circle.
Yeah, this playing path was certainly a little bit strange. We didn't really get to see any of these teams drop in their, I guess you would call it their first priority spots. Some of them not even really getting their second drop spots either. So we're going to see a lot of transitioning coming out of this southwestern part of the map where a lot of teams opted to go at the beginning. But, I mean, they have a long way to travel ahead of them. We're popping now over to that Primorsk area where we see that that's going to be Grunto Esports has taken up shop. They're going to be looting all of this Godonimus, that Trigga, and his teammates, pretty much reaping the benefits of all of this Primorsk area.
Yeah, they got a long way to go, though. But Cloud9 looks like they got their normal drop spot, or at least their normal drop spot as of recently, with this south of Pachinki split. Tempo Storm also being able to get their west coast split on. Envy making their way up to Georgia Pool, it looks like. And meanwhile, Pecadores, or well, I guess we can't call them Pecadores anymore. SSG,
no longer.
I told you it's going to take some time to get used to all these roster changes. But Ronin also has a long way to go. Hopefully, they decide to transition at a time when Trigger Happy has decided to move on and not get caught in transition. But as you can see, I mean, there's only 13 teams in the lobby, only 50 players, 51 players total, one player already down. It's very unlikely that we're going to see a whole lot of action early, but we can use that to kind of look at these transition paths, and it makes it a little bit more interesting and more easy to see kind of how these teams play in a normal 16-team setting, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, also, Por, one of the things I was thinking about, this is the first set of matches that we're going to be playing on this new patch that has gotten such good feedback. We've got new scopes coming out. We've got the emotes as well. But I mean, basically just the fixes to all of the lag and stuttering that we were seeing is just amazing. So, I kind of wanted to ask you, what's your favorite scope now with these reworks?
Oh man, if I hopefully I get a chance to get in there and play soon. I've been nonstop casting ever since. But actually, you can see Rush has been caught in transition already. VTV and the rest of the boys from Check 6? Yeah,
Set to destroy, I think, actually. Yeah,
Set to destroy. Okay, that one I should have got that one. But yeah, Set to destroy, catching one player from Rush out on transition. Interestingly enough, while in circle, so Rush didn't get a chance to loot a whole lot. They're going to be kind of starved a little bit, I would imagine, as they're having to transition a little bit south to get away from Set to destroy here. But
yeah,
as far as the scopes, though, I've heard the new 2X is pretty awesome, but I'm more excited about the fact that I've heard that the AK is kind of back.
Oh, the AK has been back, in my opinion. But yeah, the 2 times is certainly the god scope right now. I mean, the field of vision that you're able to get, as well as the they sort of minimized it in terms of its look, and it looks great now. But yeah, looking around, like you mentioned, Poro, a lot of this action is going to come later in the game as these teams sort of collide on one another in these transition phases. I mean, the circle is kind of forcing these teams into these land masses. So I think we're certainly going to see that combat as we see Cloud9 and a few other squads now opting for the southern edge of the circle, trying to transition in from that Milta area that's going to be trigger happy. Coming out of Milta, they were able to loot that area without pretty much any contest at all, coming up a little bit behind Ronin right now on the road north. They're going to be very close, actually, to Kraken and his teammate in the Dacia, trailing a little bit behind their team, but also Cloud9 taking advantage on this hill, popping out some shots onto Ronin, passing by, not connecting enough, but certainly putting out a little bit of damage and enough of the fear of God to make them continue pushing.
Yeah, Cloud9 very quick to slam on the brakes as soon as they saw another team in transition to be able to drop a few shots down. Unfortunately, not enough of them were able to land. Not enough of Cloud9 was there really at the start to catch them fully in transition to get the full 4-player spray down on them. But you can see Coldamenta took a little bit of damage here as Ronin proceeds to move into the circle. And one of the things that I think that this kind of lighter lobby is going to be a little bit more forgiving on is these later transitions, these slow pushes. But you can see Ronin have been playing very, very well lately, and they're actually transitioning in fairly early for a team that looted military. They're actually going to get rewarded for that too here. It looks like with a nice little crate pickup as Texas drops out to reap the benefits of that. But that being said, these teams like Tempo Storm and SSG that are transitioning from far away into this new circle, they have the ability to really do that. They can do this late push and not really be penalized for it the same way they normally would in a full server.
Yes, certainly. The rest of Cloud9 meeting up with their teammates on that hill where they had previously engaged on Ronin. They have now ended up engaging with Trigger Happy. That was another squad that was coming up from that Milta area. So Trigger Happy has a compound a little bit to the southeast, going to be, in a little bit of a better cover scenario. Versus what Cloud9 is working with. Cloud9 with a little bit of a better vantage on the surrounding areas, but it looks like they're going to have their vehicles. They've got 3 vehicles, 2 UAZs, and a motorcycle. So certainly opting for that vehicle cover into the late game that we usually see them take.
And this is one of the good things that I like that Cloud9 has been doing recently is they're starting to get to that point where they don't just look for to push into circle to get somewhere that's going to be safe. They look for somewhere that they could be safe, but they can also get good lines of sight and put a lot of cover, a lot of fire down onto any unsuspecting teams that they may catch into transition. That's a really good way to get those kills. And as we've seen, in the past, for a long time now, really, since we've started adding points for kills, the teams that end up getting the most kills are the teams that end up doing better regardless of placement. I mean, you can see a team win 2 games in a night and they still don't come into first place because their kill counts are just so low. So it's being able to put yourself in these positions where you can kind of get both that really rewards you. And Cloud9 is starting to do a lot better at that recently.
Yeah, they certainly are. We do see this centralized area in the first circle getting very congested as VTV is already popping out shots. This is set to destroy. They have spotted another squad directly to the west of them, trying to at least disable their vehicles and see if they can spot anyone through those windows. VTV trying to feed out some information to his team right now. The rest of his squad has opted for that building cover. But we do see now as the blue zone is finally approaching this first zone, most of the teams have transitioned in. We have a few stragglers that triggered in his squad. Gadonimez, BenQ5, your boy Dre, Tempo Storm, very far away actually, just a little bit south of that Crates in South Georgia Pole area. As we look to the southwest, actually, Cloud9 is still engaged in a battle with Trigger Happy down there. It doesn't look like they're actually putting out a lot of damage or getting knocks, but certainly trading back shots back and forth.
Yeah, one of the interesting teams to note is Team 1. This is Evil Geniuses have kind of a very centralized location here, but look at how far they're split. And they're split they're split across 3 compounds, just holding off all this area, collecting all this information. And it looks like they may, I don't know if they've been engaging in trading shots with Envy, who's just to the north of them. But this is just a really interesting split. I mean, if any team decides to rush Watts here, or either of these compounds that hold 1 player, EG could be in some trouble here. But I guess they're just kind of trusting their instincts, trusting that if they lay down enough fire onto somebody, it'll keep them from crashing.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, if you're in Watts' position, basically you have to put out the sound or firepower of a squad, effectively telling any passerbys that there is, more than 1 person. Because if you pass by and there's 1 person in that building, I mean, you have to take it. It's a great compound, and it's certainly one that would be easy to take if you're a squad rolling in. But we do see some shots now coming out in this area. Check Shooter and the rest of his squad are trying to take a little bit of cover in this shack. This is going to be Team Envious right here. A little bit disconnected from their other teammates on the map, Kaisuko and Check Shooter, that is. But, we do look at this circle. This next circle has cut out a little bit of this water that we saw on the eastern edge, Poro. But, a little bit of it is still in play, as well as we see that area just getting very congested, as a lot of teams had prior to this second circle opted for compounds in that area.
Trifecta making that transition for the last 2 players of Envy very, very nerve-wracking as they lay down a lot of fire. And now you can see Envy and Trifecta engaged in just trading shots back and forth. Team 12 and Team 8, just keep an eye on those 2 as these circles progress. Now it looks like Team 1 here, EG, has decided to crash into a compound that's currently occupied by all of Render. How long is it going to take? And Render already taking some shots, but having to retreat back in. Master Nook and Nomi holding down this 1 position. The rest of Render is a little bit uphill, and Master Nook goes down. That's going to be a bad news for Evil Geniuses. Render is going to have to push this now. Nomi is going to try to get up here and get this res off as quick as he can before the rest of Render can push this. But Mr. Blown Apart already rushing in. Imagine getting a grenade ready. There it goes. It's going to make it. No, it's going to bounce off the wall. So EG back up to 2 players, but Render is right on top of him, and Nomi goes down.
Yeah, these nades are just coming out hot from Render Esports out there, just connecting onto Nomi after he was able on his teammate. They now have 2 down, Nomi and Master Nook on top of that building, as the rest of Render Esports is now flooding into this building, clearing it out, able to get the full kill onto Nomi, pushing onto the roof now and spotting out Master Nook, looking a bit to see if they can spot out where the remaining team member is. But that is going to be a 3 triple kill for Render Esports right there, and a compound secure. So a very clutch pickup for them, as we do see Tempo Storm on the western edge of the circle still trying to make their rotations in. I don't believe that they have actually been in the safe zone this entire game, so it's certainly been one of transition for them, but a lot of congestion here as we are now popping over to that Trigger and Grunto Esports, spotting down on Young Bay and the rest of his squad of 4 PUBG players inside of this Wizard Tower.
I really like Grunto's positioning here. If they can manage to get it down on this, they could really take Young Bay and his squad mate by surprise. Close shots are landing close, and Chat Triggers gets taken very, very low. They're gonna have to push off of this just a little bit, and it looks like God Dominus already deciding to run away. They don't want this fight as much as they originally had thought they might. So I guess they just don't really have a good way to get around, to get a flank on this, where Young Bay and squad mates can just kind of hide behind this this building. So God Dominus, that Trigger, just gonna elect to take off, get back with the rest of their teammates. And let's see, we've got, this is looking like it might be a mansion circle. That forest north of mansion is so sketchy, and it can get so violent so quickly. And hopefully we'll see where this next circle is going to take us. Actually, that Trigger getting taken down by SSG. SSG just walks into the circle and immediately starts to have an impact, even though they have arrived late. These shots are just landing so well, and there's that 2x at work for D-Master that you were talking about.
Yep, H-Win and Smurf just raining down shots onto Godonimus and that Trigger, who had previously disengaged off of that fight with 4 PUBG players. But our next circle is out. It's going to be heading a little bit to the south, still opting for that eastern coast, but you know, pretty much all of the water taken out as Think First and the rest of his squad of Trifecta have spotted Rush out there on that eastern coast, popping off a lot of shots, trying to connect with that buggy, not able to, but still sees the remaining players trailing behind him. This is going to be Think First, you know, someone who we have seen frag out a lot previously. I think he's new to this roster actually, but you know, certainly good to see him playing as the rest of these teams are now starting to transition towards this Lipovka area. This is actually going to be Evil Genius, as Zwats and his teammate have reunited from that solo building that he was holding previously, and they're going to be pushing in onto Rush. It's going to be Yusuf and Soko right there holding this building, possibly seeing something. Borjuzia as well. Zwats and the rest of Evil Genius is now disengaging off of this Lipovka push.
Yeah, Evil Genius is having some really rough times transitioning today. As you can see, Riem engaged in a little bit of a firefight as his teammate tries to get away. Watts is going to manage to get free, but Trifecta is just holding court as kings of the hill over this entire compound, just raining shots down from every which possible direction. Meanwhile, Cloud9 has made their way into the southern part of the circle, into the cliffs just to the south of Prison, which is a pretty good position for them as far as safety goes, but they're going to be pretty lonely there for a while until they start having to push in.
Yeah, Vexel trying to make a move into Lipovka as well, but Rush says no, able to defend it and get the shots out, blowing up the vehicle. That's going to be Soko eventually getting the kill onto Vexel with that explosion. Looking over here at the forest that Poro loves so much and was previously talking about. This is going to be Render Esports in here, but they're getting very close to 4 PUBG players. This is going to be Young Bay and his teammates who were previously in that sniper tower that Godonimus and that Trigger had disengaged off of. I don't think they're aware of each other's presence yet, but both are playing very aggressively towards this northwestern edge of the next safe zone.
Oh yeah, it looked like Render had some kind of idea because they were all looking that direction. You could see it looked like Team 9, 4 PUBG players may not have been aware. They may have taken a shot or something a little bit earlier when they were coming into the forest, but something definitely perked the ears up on Render, and you could see all of those players were looking west as they approached into this forest. So now Young Bay all by himself here, hiding by this rock, but Render once again just charging in. They know when they have an advantage. Antho at the Bando actually gets taken down and finished off by Young Bay. Oh, that's you almost want to say BM on that, but these kills do count. So they have to get all the points they can as whenever the opportunity presents itself. So points picked up by Young Bay there, but that squad is going to be out.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, not a bad decision by him. He was
absolutely
certainly knew that there was a death ball force surrounding him, which is what Render Esports has been this entire game, and we saw them very aggressively push previously in this game alone, and we actually see Frolicker going down for Cloud9. It looks like Chappie is going to be able to get to this shack and pick him up. They've got the cover to do so, but a little bit worrisome for them as they have this position just to the east of Prison that we had talked about. I mean, a fairly good position. They have all 4 players up, a little bit split, but he's going to be able to get that support that he needs. Trifecta occupying the building a little bit to the northeast, and that's going to be Trigger Happy occupying this sniper tower just to the west of Prison as well. And this next circle is out, and it's going to be favoring maybe Prison a little bit. It's really going to be centering a little bit to the northeast of Prison, but a good circle nonetheless.
Absolutely. Well, SSG Trigger Happy is actually going to be very happy with this circle as they don't have to transition too incredibly far across these open fields. But now Trifecta is actually going to have to move, and you can see they've been holding down this area for a while, but they don't have a whole lot of kills to show for it. Just 1 on the board so far, but they have been just causing havoc. And actually, Envy now running into the middle of Ronin. Kraken goes down, Coldamenta goes down, and that's going to do it for Ronin so quickly. So fast. That's 3 teams that all got involved, and it looks like Tempo Storm might have been the beneficiaries of all of this. Envy is actually still up. They still have 2 players remaining, but they're getting pushed super hard by Trifecta right now, and I don't know what they can do about this. Trifecta actually getting the down onto Waylon. So now Trifecta is down to 3. They're going to get the finish the kill off onto Waylon. 3 remaining members of Trifecta all pushing down from this hill. They get eyes on Kaisuko. Kaisuko gets taken a little bit low. You can see from looking at the minimap, this is just a 2v2 situation between these 2 squads. Nobody else is shooting into this at all. And what a great grenade from Jesse Lowell to take down Think First. Now, Envy has to decide, do they want to push this? Now that they know they have this down, can they push this safely? Can they do this confidently? Kaisuko trying to get a little bit of vision on this. He's going to throw the grenade in. He sees Imagine right there. That grenade is going to hit. Will it go off? Will it get him? Yes, it will. And you can see Spray is going to take down Kaisuko, but Spray, the last remaining member of Trifecta, Envy, Jesse, Caden, have to push this now, or they're going to be in a lot of trouble here.
Yeah, Spray now holding this angle, trying to see if anyone's rushing, and they certainly are. Jesse Lowell able to get up there and take out Imagine. One player still down for Trifecta. Spray in the corner, trying to get out whatever damage he can, but Jesse Lowell hits him with the headshot with the M416 and takes out the remaining members of Trifecta, able to get the res onto Kaisuko as well. So a very aggressive and successful play coming out of Envious right there to secure that compound in the northern part of this safe zone. That's going to be a great pickup for them, as this compound is in a great location. I mean, they really don't have anyone else pushing up on them, but we do now see Render Esports in this little death ball that they were previously in. 3 players alive using the cars and this rock as cover. Very close, though, to Tempo Storm, who has 4 players up, who had previously refereed that fight where 2 squads were eliminated on that shack. So, certainly an interesting position for them to be in as the blue is now approaching this safe zone and will push our players even closer together. But a replay now coming out of these beautiful nades from Jesse Lowell, able to connect on to Think First, like you had mentioned, Poro. I mean, just incredible play coming out. I mean, these nades were hot. Certainly, Team Envious has been practicing that nade play.
Great plays coming out from Envy right there. Kaisuko providing all the information that they need, and they rushed right when they needed to get the finish on that kill, and they were able to get the res onto Kaisuko. So despite losing 1 player, Envy still 3 strong with a lot of kills in the bank. Tempo Storm holding down this dip in the middle of the field, as they are known to do. They do this so well and so effectively, and you can see they're actually really well positioned as far as the circle is concerned. Now C9 holding down this area at the top, but you can see behind them, I'm not sure what team member that is, but they have a team approaching from the south that's going to be very well aware of their presence. It looks like that is Evil Geniuses. So Evil Geniuses, the last 2 remaining members, I believe, of that squad is just going to be kind of hanging out, trying to stay as quiet as they can, but this new circle is going to force them into contact, depending on how they rotate.
Yeah, it certainly will. Cloud9 engaging with Tempo Storm across this next safe zone. As you mentioned, Poro, Cloud9 holding a very safe position on the southern edge, but we'll need to be aware of their southern flank, as Evil Geniuses will be pushing up onto them. This is going to be Envious here in this shack where, previously was a graveyard for 2 different squads. They're going to have 3 of their members alive from that battle with Trifecta, 2 Dacias to work with for cover, and, this shack, but they are caught between a firefight as Tempo Storm is still currently engaged with both Envious and Cloud9 up there. We see Cloud9 being engaged on actually Moody and Frolicker getting knocked. Solid FPS, and I Am Chappy being the only remaining member still up. Smokes are coming out to try to provide that cover for them to get their teammates up, but not going to happen. Solid FPS gets knocked as well. So I Am Chappy, the only remaining member. 3 players currently down and bleeding out for Cloud9 as shots and battles are erupting all over the place. Cloud9 currently engaged with Render Esports on the western edge of this circle, while Trigger Happy is also shooting down onto them from the south. Trigger Happy very advantageous on the southwestern edge of the circle.
Render getting taken out of the game by getting caught in that crossfire. Very unfortunate for them. But Tempo Storm, as we've seen, just holding down this divot in the middle of the field, has vision on everybody, it seems like, except for Trigger Happy. You can see Rush engaging in a battle here with SSG. SSG already down by 2 men, and that's going to actually do it for SSG. So they go out in 8th place. Rush able to pick up the kills off of this one, but now they've got to transition into circle, and Set to Destroy is sitting there with their jaws open and teeth ready to bite down. They know that somebody is coming across this. They just heard the shots, and you can see they are already opening up onto, I believe that is Borjuzzi. Yep. So Borjuzzi without helmet. So Rush has to figure out what they want to do here. The circle is slowly moving in. They don't have a lot of options. They are actually, I'm going to go ahead and call it, they're screwed.
Yeah, Set to Destroy has all of Rush in their sights. That blue zone is going to be
they
taken
do have
away.
vehicles.
Yeah, they've got that buggy. They're going to be rushing, but a lot of shots now
Oh.
coming out as Yusuf gets knocked and thrown from that buggy in the blue zone. It's going to be taking damage as Borjuzi, the only remaining member of Rush, gets taken out as well. Soko, who had aggressively pushed this area over here, gets taken down. So this is going to be Cloud9 actually able to recover a little bit from that. Chappie was able to get solid FPS up. So, recovering from that one player up situation. They now have 2 to work with, but a lot of fights now erupting as Envious has now crossed paths with Tempo Storm still. Tempo Storm pushing around this northwestern edge of the circle, connecting with shots onto Caden. Caden able to get that cover that he needed inside of the shack, but this death ball of Tempo Storm is now moving around. They've got 4 vehicles for any sort of cover situation that presents itself in this next circle, as we are about to see it come out, and it's a little bit to the south. So they are going to have to move from this area that they've been holding for most of the game. Pretty good defilade that they had to work with, but it will be no longer, as smokes are now coming out to provide them this cover as they transition.
This is going to be really rough for Tempo. They do have all their vehicles still up, so they can get to a new spot. And actually, it looks like they've already found a little spot here on the side. The only thing they have to really worry about is these bullets from Trigger Happy. Trigger Happy, with 1 kill so far, they just haven't. The only team that I think they've been able to really see at all is Tempo Storm. And Tempo has just been ducking behind the little divot or the hole in the ground anytime they can. So the circle's really favoring Trigger Happy today, and that's a good sign. That's a good sign for them. But Envy is going to have to make a push here pretty soon, and they have to worry about Tempo Storm because Tempo Storm has already relocated into their new position and knows exactly where Envy is going to be rotating from, so they can lay down fire as soon as they peek their heads.
Yes, certainly. 6 teams remaining, 19 players alive, as these teams now are beginning to get locks on where each enemy team is. Envy is pushing very close onto this mountain where Zampa and the rest of Tempo Storm have taken cover. They're going to be hearing this. Nades are now coming out. Zampa trying to connect with these frags. Flash grenades coming out also. Kaisuko still left a little bit behind on that shack, but BenQ5 is going to spot these teammates of Envious, going to be raining down those shots, and that's going to be it, I believe, for Envious. This Tempo Storm just completely destroying the remaining members of Envious that were just a little bit to the east of them. Maluk going down in the process, but he is going to be revived by his teammates. It's going to be 4 up still for Tempo Storm after that engagement with Envious. They're going to be very close, though, to this Trigger Happy squad, a little bit to the south, and the remaining members of Cloud9. I mean, this is an interesting push, actually, by Set to Destroy here, Poro.
Ooh, getting a couple of good shots on the cover fire. Doesn't get the down, but cover fire next to no health left. But Tempo Storm, such a great push. They moved immediately, taking that hill, knowing that the first person to make that hill, if they got there before Envy decided to move, that they would have the advantage over Envy. And boy, they did, and they played it out as well as they possibly could have. So Set to Destroy, holding some high ground here. Doesn't look like they have very good vision onto Trigger Happy right now, and you can see there's still a couple of the last remaining members of EG just hiding out in this crater, hoping not to be seen and last as long as they can. There's only 5 teams remaining, but there's 15 players alive, so big couple. I think there's 3 squads of 4 still.
Yeah, 3 squads of 4. It's going to be Tempo Storm, Set to Destroy, and I believe Trigger Happy. But this circle is very interesting, Poro. Look at how many teams have kind of aggregated towards the southern edge of the circle. We have, I believe, 4 squads on the southern edge, and then the 1 remaining squad, Tempo Storm, here to the north, who is now engaged in a battle with Trigger Happy full on. They're going to be taking shots. Machine Gunner trying to get some sights onto them with his 8 times on that Scar. So, using this a little bit, they have to move out of this position to get into the next safe zone. There's not going to be a lot of cover there, and these teams on the southeastern edge are going to have a pretty hellish time trying to transition as Rift has now jumped down. He's going to be one of these, one of the players from Set to Destroy jumps down and gets connected on from Evil Geniuses. Riem trying to play spoiler in this little crevice in the mountain outside of prison.
And what are they going to do here? They know he's there, but if they jump down, they're going to be at a disadvantage because Riem can just spray them down. So Set to Destroy down to, are we down to 2 players on the Set to Destroy? I think it might be. Yeah, last 2 players on Set to Destroy here. So this is actually Tempo Storm's has a lot of Actually, I feel like this is Tempo Storm circle. Oh, Chappie actually getting the down onto Riem. That is going to be the second to last remaining player from Evil Geniuses. But right now, Trigger Happy just taking so much heat from Tempo. Tempo has been so quick on these transitions and these rotations, getting to where they need to be as fast as they can.
Yeah, Shredded taken very low from vehicle damage, and those shots coming out of the Tempo Storm. Tempo Storm already pushing into this circle, trying to be the first ones to own this area inside of it. I mean, it's pretty much, yeah, like you said, it's their circle if they choose to take it. Trigger Happy a little bit to the southwest, not exactly in yet. They're going to be riding that edge, but we still do have one remaining team member of Evil Geniuses who's now going to be taking out. It's going to be Z-Watts. So that's going to be it for them. 2 teams left, 8 people alive. This is going to be Trigger Happy versus Tempo Storm. 4-man squads up. Shredded ends up getting taken down by BenQ5. Machine Gunner knocked. So this is going to be Tempo Storm with 4 up. That's going to be 1 down. This is going to be effectively a 2v4 situation. They were able to get Machine Gunner up, evening the odds a little bit to a 3v4 Machine Gunner, trying to get these meds off. You see Fear Me dropping the first aid for him to use their cover fire, trying to get some sort of information as to where these players are and if they are pushing, taking a lot of shots in the process, though.
The flank from Dre. The flank from Dre right now is huge. You can see Trigger Happy has this one little defilade to work with, but Dre coming in, getting the down, getting the actually just putting bullets into a BenQ5, and Maluk getting the downs. And you see Machine Gun is the last one remaining, does manage to get Zampa down, but that is going to do it. Tempo Storm with a death grip on that field, just coming home with so many kills. Look at this, 16 kills for Tempo Storm. That open position in the field with the divot in the ground that they were playing was just so smart.
Yeah, they had that little crater to work with, but they also had 4 vehicles. I mean, they were covered up any way that they wanted to take it, and the circle ended up pushing them, and they utilized what they had so well, playing very aggressively in that final circle to pretty much dominate the square footage and effectively force Trigger Happy to sit in that position. They weren't able to push out of it. They were pinned down from all areas, and as you mentioned, your boy Dre was coming out with the deadly flank from the side. So I mean, they were just in dire straits, trying to stay alive as long as they could. Machine Gunner, the last player alive towards the end there, just trying to put out some shots, got the knock, but that was it. So that's going to be Trigger Happy coming in second place, and Evil Geniuses, pulling out a third place finish from what they had to work with is pretty incredible, Poro.
Absolutely, it's very huge from them. Well, you also have Set to Destroy in 4th and then C9 in 5th. But guys, we are going to throw it now to the desk while we fill up the lobby for game 2. Guys, take it away.
Thank you very much, Poro, and hello, Poro. How are you?
Hello.
Nice to have you
Once
back
again.
on desk
Sorry.
and in game. The double duty tonight from Porosaurus. There are many that try to compete at his level, and none can. Joining back here with Mustache Dave and Poro once again. Game 1 is over. And let me tell you, Tempo came with a big win. And before we even talk about that, before we even speak about what happened in that game, there's only 13 teams playing today, obviously. I didn't mind it. And I kind of liked it because a lot of full squads at the end, not so many stragglers running all over the place. And I think it makes for a better end game, in my opinion. I don't know.
We had a couple stragglers.
A couple.
EG getting 3rd place off of their straggler.
A couple stragglers, yes. But
it's another month in PUBG. Let's take out a couple more teams from whatever. Let's keep doing it.
PUBG Online split 2.
Why not?
1v1. Mustache Dave, what did you take away from our first game of this evening?
I took away Tempo Storm. Phenomenal job here tonight. I'm not sure if it's due to kind of their new member that they included in tonight's games. But 16 kills, highest fragging kill count, I believe, as the second place was Trigger Happy with only 1 kill, and then Evil Geniuses with 1 kill as well. But it just goes to show how strong positioning is, right? Trigger Happy, they were in that southwest corner for at least 4 circles, maybe even 5, and only 1 kill because just simply they didn't have to. They didn't have to get into any gunfights. I mean, they were all left alone down there, and they just pretty much walked into second place. So You know, I like to see frags. You know, I like to see people fragging out. But at the end of the day, placements is where it's at, and Trigger Happy definitely showing that that's the case for sure.
Placements are where it's at. I would definitely agree with that. It's important. You got to get the top 5s. We talk about it all the time. Top 5 finishes every single game. That should be every team's goal. Porosaurus, how did you feel while you talked us through that entire game?
You know, I mentioned it briefly, but I love the way that Tempo position themselves there. They find these dips in the ground to make their little car forts, just to kind of to get shots onto anything around them, get so much vision, collect so much information, and you can see how well it played out. And the other thing that really impressed me about them in this particular game was how confident they were in their rotations. I mean, you saw as soon as a new circle popped up, snap, they were already going, they were already there. If Envy had been to that little hillside, was, I mean, it was just too late. It was too late.
Dave,
Yeah.
I love the hand gesture there.
That was a nice,
Hey, yo, it was a good job.
Hey, nice shot.
That's a spicy shot.
Spicy.
No.
Well, let's talk about more spice though. When Tempo Storm took out Envy, I mean, that was some spice as well. I was actually feeling Envy as they threw out some smokes. They actually had the convoy with the vehicles pushing for the positioning. They also left a man behind to kind of guard their flank. But Tempo Storm just being so proactive there, taking them out. We saw a couple flashbangs come out from them as well. So very interesting play.
I have to say that I actually love a lot of these teams. You'll see them every now and then when they're going for a really dangerous rotation. A really, like, when they know this could be it for us, if we could get wiped here just trying to move into the zone, they will sacrifice a player and just leave them there. And Envy going for that, where you just put one right at the edge of the circle. You're like, sit there. The blue's going to come. It's going to murder you. There's nothing you can do. If any of them shoot at us or come out, shoot them and make them stop as fast as possible. And that's the way a lot of these teams play rotations. And sometimes, you know, you have to sacrifice a teammate for the greater good. So keep an eye on that in the future, because every now and then you'll see 3 move and just one's just like, I'm just going to accept my fate down here to keep my team alive.
Well, I think it's kind of to provide information a little bit. I think Envy knew that by pushing where they were going to be pushing, that Tempo was going to be there. And I think the job of Kaisuka's was to let them know when they were getting there. But there were so many smokes down. I don't know if Kaisuka could actually get the vision.
It's a wonderful thing that smokes kind of work now.
Yeah,
it's really great. I love it. Like, it is. We went through so many months of PUBG Online, and they were just like, the smokes would just randomly kind of work sometimes.
No, they didn't work.
Like,
They didn't work.
Right,
I mean, they worked
whatever.
as they spewed something out of them. But that was it.
Yeah.
A lot of spewing.
There was smoke. Was it where it should have been? Never. But it was there. And I think now that you have the working smokes and we see them utilized so much, there's still issues with them, as a lot of the teams know. When they go through this, you can there's a couple bugs with the smokes. But I think once they get nailed down, it's going to be such a beautiful thing for these teams to have. And it's been great so far having a lot of these squads utilizing them. Unfortunately for other teams that try and utilize them, Cloud9. Woo. Cloud9 was under a lot of pressure, threw the smokes down, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was Caden, I want to say, from Envious. They were shooting up, and it's a long distance, but they knew they're rezzing in those smokes 100% to shoot it forever, and they were able to get 3 downs right there, which really put Cloud9 in a tough spot. But thank God for chat.
Amazing. Yeah, thank God. Thank
God.
God. Coming off the bench, coming in hot tonight, getting that, I believe, fifth spot, right?
I believe that is a 5th place finish for Cloud9. Yeah,
pretty good. Pretty
That's good for them. I mean, that's something that
that's what they need. Yeah.
And I know we mentioned it briefly before, but want to give shout out to Trigger Happy for like you said, good positioning, and unfortunately it's getting to the point. I mean, and I mentioned this a little bit before. It's past the point where you can't just rely on good positioning anymore to get a high placement. You also need to get the kills, and because despite Trigger Happy coming in second, somebody who finished in 4th or 5th will end up getting more points than they did because they got more kills. So Trigger Happy, I love to see their positioning. They're playing really, really well, but I would love to see them kind of position themselves in places that where they can might be able to get into more fights and maybe pick up some more of those kills and get those points to add on to their placement points, because that's the only thing that's really holding the team back at this point.
Yeah, and one other beautiful fight that we did see, we were talking about Envy before the day a little bit here, right before the first game started. It was a beautiful thing. They got Kaisuko in there.
But that
Trifecta. So it's nice to see Envy out there doing a little bit of fragging themselves. Getting
It's unfortunate for
back
Trifecta.
Yeah, unfortunate for Trifecta for sure.
I mean, that whole first part of the game, they were just causing problems for everybody. I mean, they were holding, like I said, they were kings of the castle, kings of the hill, just taking shots at everybody. I mean, unfortunately, not able to really finish anything off, but just causing a lot of problems. But then having to transitioning into a 3-man Envy, just kind of unfortunate that it ended up the way that it did. But Envy just played that so perfectly. There's not really much you can do.
Yeah. I mean, Kaisuko, he's like a good luck charm from my understanding. You put him on your squad, you're guaranteed to get some good plays.
There's something with Kaisuko, man, and it was it was a little bit of a snafu there when he got downed. But like Kaisuko, he subbed for a few teams, and for some reason every team
we watch our players summarily executing each other, teammate versus teammate. You see, well, I think Tempo Storm is killing each other in Pachinki right now.
Pure action erupting. Look at this early game action, Poro. It's driving me insane. This whole game is just flipped on its head. Things we don't usually see happening.
It's actually insane. So okay, while we decide to while we get everybody out of this lobby and remake, we are going to send it back to desk where we'll talk a little bit about crazy circles and what to do when you see them.
PUBG giveth and PUBG taketh away, boys. So all right, here's the deal.
I mean, I was feeling that.
Yeah.
I mean, totality again.
That's a mustache Dave circle right there.
We
that
see
was
a
a
thieves now,
mustache Dave
boys.
circle. Here's the situation. Let me just give this breakdown for everyone, the viewers. If any of you guys played the test server this past week, it had this new feature called water circles, and what would happen is the circle would actually end in water, like actually 100%. And one video, there was like 4 people on a boat just hanging out, and that's how they won because. So obviously, obviously
that's my type of game.
Yeah, obviously this patch is now live, and when we hop into a game like that, unfortunately, every game we go into with this patch until this is fixed, that is possible that happens. There's nothing we can do about it. The issue that we have is when we have one that blatantly obvious, we can restart. Like, we need to restart immediately. Like, there's no way that one's going to finish on land. So we're going to restart. We're going to get all the teams back in the lobby, and we're going to hope that doesn't happen. I cannot believe how awful that one started. Like, I've seen them end bad, but that one just started. Like, no, we're not going to do the land
plane too.
Well, you know,
it's such a good plane.
I told you, man. PUBG giveth and PUBG taketh away.
Dude.
So what we're going to do is we're not going to just crazy. I can't believe that just happened. We are going to kick it to a break for a couple minutes. We're going to get the teams back in. We're going to start the game right away. I know Poro's been on double duty, so he needs to actually stand up for once in the next 3 hours.
Be nice.
So we're going to take a break for a couple minutes. When we come back, we're going to jump right into game with Poro and Esquire. No nest, no anything. Just boom. As soon as it's ready, as soon as the plane is in the air, we will jump right into the game. We're sorry about this. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do because I didn't develop PUBG. So my powers are gone now.
What a coincidence. Neither did they.
Yeah. All right. On that note, we will see you in just a few minutes. There is something with my and it was,
I'm standing here in the water, watching the future while we're getting older. I don't know how to stop the machine. I don't know how to stop the man. Sometimes I feel my skin is too thin. Just wanna get out of this trend. Even when the sun goes down, I feel I have to go. I'm searching hard to know my mind. I just wanna Hey man, you heard it's too small. We're used to live out of control. I'm standing in the water, watching the warm death American nature. I don't know how to stop the machine. I don't know how to stop the man. Sometimes I feel my skin is too thin. Just wanna get out of this trend. Even when the sun goes down, I feel I have to go. I'm searching hard to know my mind. I just wanna when you commit to a path, I guess you were on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, a space, the grace that takes you home. You don't have to tell me once or twice, wonder why we're here. We just gotta stop the flood before we lose it all and drown from fear. But let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I've survived through rainstorms, sandstorms. I fought the war, now it's time to go home. Let me tell you, I'm ready to fly. I survived through rainstorms.
Hello, 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 and we are back once again after the amazing circle from last time. Hopefully you can hear our beautiful voices. I am Porosaurus, and with me, of course, is Mr. Esquire. Esquire, game one was pretty awesome. Game two, looking like a nice little plane to say, shape us up for the same.
Yes, certainly is coming out of the southwestern corner of the map this time, taking another very good angle towards that northeastern corner where Stauber and Kameshki lie. So I think the players are going to be certainly equally as happy with this plane route. They're going to be able to spread out and reach those locations that probably we usually see these teams go towards. A lot of congestion in the center of the map, as most of a good number of teams actually jumped out there to start to coast and scope out where their other teammates are lying. But thanks, guys, for sticking with us as we remade that game previously with a pretty deadly water circle, Poro.
That was awesome. for Dave. Dave loved that circle, and I was happy for Dave. When Dave is happy, we're all happy. I am happy that we're actually seeing things are going kind of back to normal. Tempo Storm back to their Tempo Storm looting location. C9 have discovered that even though they normally loot south of Pachinki, nobody decided to take Pachinki this time, so Pachinki was free for them. Go for it. They're back to they're comfortable looting there. They've done that in the past. You can see who we got, EG, Inez, Naya, Rush making their way up to Saverni. So everything kind of right with the world. Everybody has their own little spot that they can go to, and it should be pretty safe and I'm going to say not eventful for the first part of this map until we see where this circle's going.
Yeah, probably not so much action at the start of these games as we didn't see any really at the start of the first game of the evening either, but it certainly erupted in the later part of the game. Yeah, and this circle is certainly refreshing to see as it is pretty much directly centered on Potato Hill, right to the east of Pachinki. Cloud9, as you mentioned, opted to land in that Pachinki area. They're going to be looting that uncontested. Previously, in the remake game, they had opted towards that Saverni area and got congested and pretty much split in between maybe 3 or 4 different squads. So certainly in a much better position as this circle is going to be favoring where they have ended up.
Way better. About the closest 2 squads that I think I've seen are Trifecta and Render holding down Razak and School respectively. You can see Rift kind of making his way through here as Trigger Happy tried to land, get vehicles, and make their way over to Milta, it looks like. Fignaldo causing some problems for cover fire here, but it looks like everything's going to be squared away. They're just going to go about their merry way. Trigger Happy going to pick up this second UAZ as they make their way on. Set to Destroy, making their way over to Milta Power, while it looks like actually Trigger Happy is just going to go ahead and do a farm split as opposed to just taking Milta proper. But Ronin taking Millie, they're going to have a little bit of a way to move in, but not too far, as you can see SSG also doing their standard peer split strat, and Team 4, Grunto, holding down Primorsk.
Yeah, and one thing to sort of note here is that we've seen Trigger Happy Milta area when they have been playing recently in a little bit of a 3-1 split, as Gunners pretty much directly west of them, pretty split off. If he were to encounter any sort of issues, he's going to be pretty much out of range of any sort of support from his team here in Milta. Going to be looting this uncontested, and it is on the edge of the first safe zone, so they're in a pretty good position in terms of looting this area. It's just something to note that this seems like Trigger Happy has marked Milta as theirs.
Well, this is kind of I think this is actually kind of a response almost to what I was talking about earlier, where Trigger Happy gets these great positions, but they end up not getting a whole lot of kills. So this might be actually Gunner making his way towards a more central location. It's kind of serving as a scout here and securing kind of a location for them to transition into. You can see he's doing a little bit of looting by himself here. He's going to be okay, but I wonder if there's a location that they have in mind that they want Gunner to take first, and then the rest of the team will eventually meet up and then try to hold down and maybe pick up some kills on teams that are transitioning in late.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how that unfolds. We do have our first crate coming out on the map. Going to be a Groza, so an all right pickup for anyone who happens to cross by it. I think anyone who actually risks it to try to get that crate is going to be very unhappy. It's going to be dropping them pretty centralized, right outside of Pachinki, so very close to where Cloud9 is. We do see Maluk in a car kind of driving towards this crate. This is going to be Tempo Storm getting very close to where Moody is. Moody certainly hearing this car driving through. Is he going to be taking shots? The Scar comes out, and so do the shots, trying to line up onto Maluk, not connecting yet, but certainly putting out some damage onto that vehicle.
Maluk, very lucky there that the shots didn't land, but he's actually going to stop. I think he's got an AK and an M16, so Moody's going to have to get himself some shelter in this shack, while Maluk just kind of peeks over, does take a hit there, and decides the better of it. He said, nah, I don't really want to mess with it. Well, maybe I do. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he just gets the car out of the line of fire right there.
Yeah, it's kind of Tempo kind of does these things where they send their first person since they do this southwestern loot strat. It's kind of up to the player as to when their looting phase is over. And you can see Maluk already has 2 ARs, 2 meds. He's got all of the equipment he feels like he needs. So he then moves into the circle and takes this hilltop, which is a pretty strong hilltop to hold. And you can see the rest of his squad is slowly starting to make their way in as soon as they feel ready. Dre already finding his partner here, so maybe they might make a push for this crate. But Moody is kind of in a weird place right now because he can't really leave that shack. He doesn't have a vehicle, so he's going to have to kind of hold it down until the rest of his squad can provide some kind of support.
Yeah, he's certainly in a tough position. This is actually a hill that Cloud9 opts to go to pretty much a lot of the time. I mean, most of the time I see them transitioning from Pachinki or that Pachinki area to this actual hill, as it provides a lot of advantage on the surrounding areas. And certainly with the circle that these players are presented with, I mean, it's going to be a great lookout point. Moody now caught, as you said, pretty much in that shack, and was able to give Maluk that information. I mean, there weren't a lot of shots coming out at his car. I'm pretty sure he was able to decipher that there's really only one player in that immediate vicinity that's taking shots at him. So he pulled over to that hill, got the car into a safe position in case they need to use it later. But Moody now spotting these members of Tempo Storm who've now convened with Maluk up there. That's going to be your boy Dre and Maluk, kind of using this hill to get some information, poking their heads out, but no shots coming out yet.
One interesting thing to note, and I don't know if it'll play out, you tell Moody's playing this very, very carefully. If you go back and look at him, he doesn't have a vest. So this is actually going to be, he doesn't want to peek this too hard, because if he does, it's a couple of shots and he's down, and his team is so far away that providing any type of support is not going to be really feasible. And you can see now the rest of Tempo Storm has made their way to that hill. So Moody in a rough spot, to say the least.
Yeah, certainly in a rough spot. I mean, he transitioned there pretty early in the looting phase, leaving the remaining 3 members of Cloud9 in Pachinki. It looked like Frolicker was sort of gravitating towards those barns across the field. So he's getting a little bit closer as Chappie is now transitioning towards that eastern edge of Pachinki as well. So, they're in a little bit of a vicinity of each other to provide cover fire, but not so much in the means of helping if one of those players gets down. A lot of players beginning to transition, though, as that blue zone is encroaching onto this first zone of the circle.
Okay, so
first circle of the game.
Yeah. So Zampa has decided to go and collect the Groza from that crate. You can see the rest of the squads are now starting to move in. Machine Gunner making a liar out of me, not serving as a scout for his team, but the rest of his team is starting to make their way out of Milta and connect with him. You can see Ronin is also making their way up as Set to Destroy is wrapping things up in Milta Power. Everybody's starting to make their way in, deciding where they want to hold down for this. Oh, actually, Ronin is going to come across Machine Gunner here. Gunner's going to have to be really careful. He takes a shot, and he's going to go down immediately to Texas. So bad luck for Trigger Happy here as Machine Gunner starts dropping all his meds. And Texas, are you going to? Yeah.
I was wondering if we were going to see emotes this evening, and we just did. We saw the BM coming out in response to the loot dropping right there. So Texas really putting the hurt. But yeah, I mean, that was something that we had talked about. Poor Machine Gunner was a little bit separated from his team in that Milta area. And what was unfortunate in particular about that is Shraded and his teammates were coming up to that compound. They were maybe a few seconds away from being able to actually help Gunner, but unfortunately the shots just came out a little too quick, and that was it. Look at the laugh emote. Look at that BM.
Texas, you're a highlight reel now. You're welcome. So Mr. Blown Apart already making his way over to this crate, which has conveniently decided to fall just on Render and Render alone. So they are going to be making their way off with a nice ghillie suit, level 3 backpack, and an AUG, which is not the worst thing in the world, but definitely would have preferred probably an AWM or an M24 in that situation. But you'll take what you can get. Looks like we have the rest of Team 9 here, 4 PUBG players finishing up in Northern George, deciding to push in super late from that northwestern edge, but there's not a whole lot of congestion going on in that northwestern side. So depending on where they decide to go, they should be okay. Rush also transitioning here on the northeastern side, could possibly run into EG, but that's only 2 players from EG, so it's doubt we'll see too much congestion from them.
Yeah, EG in a very, very large split right there. They've got 2 members in Yasnaya, and then the other 2 remaining members are going to be very, very far south, not able to provide any sort of support to each other. We see them now just directly east of school, Master Nook and Nomi. That is, but yeah, now all of our squads have pretty much progressed into this first safe zone of game number 2, except for the guys of 4 PUBG players, that squad that have been looting that South or North Georgia Pole area, rather. So, you know, depending on where this circle goes, I think it's going to really start to sort of shape up and dictate where the battlefields are going to erupt. Poro, as we discussed, that with 13 teams in this lobby, it's going to be a fairly safe early game. Not a lot of transitions are going to be are going to be, I guess, spotted out by a lot of teams.
Yeah, depending on, obviously the circle's some people will end up having a transition because we are still pretty spread out. And actually, we see our new circle just now pop. So, yeah, all our teams off to the northeast are going to have to make their way in. Render isn't going to have to move too far. Rush, after just stopping, is immediately going to hop into their cars and make their way in. You can see the rest of EG now moving in to reconnect with their teammates. And Set to Destroy actually going to make their way in, but they're very close to Trigger Happy. Meanwhile, Moody still not going anywhere. He's just gonna set up camp, set up shop in that little shed, and hope for the best.
Yes, yeah, just doing whatever he can essentially to not die, because he is very, very separated. And this circle is lining up directly on Pachinki essentially, so it is going to be drawing a lot of players, as this is going to be a very attractive compound for different people to take, certainly all over the place. As I believe, Ronin is now opting for these barns where Cloud9 had previously looted. Cloud9 spotting them coming out is going to be taking shots, not connecting, but alerting them of their presence, as Nomi for EG is now pressing onto the same side of the field a little bit north of where Ronin is taking up compound.
Yeah, EG should be able to make it in here. Oh, actually Smurf, so getting caught in transition. So that's going to be one going down for Space Station, and you see the rest of Trigger Happy coming in as well, taking a lot of fire from Cloud9. Cover fire goes down. Shraded still in the field, wide open, so vulnerable. He's going to try to go for this ditch. Is he going to make it? Just barely, but he blows up from the shots from nobody. He blows himself up. So at least he denies the kill there, but Trigger Happy just going through some really rough times right now. Fear Me still alive, but only just.
Yeah, 4 teams transitioning into this Pachinki area just served to be a bloodbath, as we saw Trigger Happy get decimated down to only 1 player remaining. That's going to be Fear Me, just directly southeast of Pachinki. Tempo Storm now up on this hill, spotting out a squad directly to their southwest. I believe that is going to be Set to Destroy, who they have been able to get eyes on. BenQ5 and your boy Dre trying to rain some shots down at BTV and the rest of their squad down there. Yeah, that is Set to Destroy. So, Set to Destroy is in a good compound as well, but this hill that we were talking about earlier, that Cloud9 and Tempo Storm were contesting each other for, I mean, it just provides perfect vantage onto all of this area, and certainly the different windows in these buildings where Set to Destroy have taken cover.
This circle is setting Tempo Storm up to get another very high kill game, depending on how these teams transition and rotate.
Exactly.
They have vision over literally everything. What I want to at this point, I want to place bets. Who here thinks that Moody is ever going to be able to leave that shack? Because I think he's stuck. I think he's going to be there for the rest of this game.
I mean, if the circle keeps centralizing on this location, he'll be able to pick up a second place just by hanging.
He's AFK playing Hearthstone right now, or Vermintide. I've been watching his Vermintide streams. They're great.
Fortnite,
but yeah, Fear Me all by himself now, just trying to stay as low profile as he possibly can. Tempo Storm taking shots where they can, at who they can. You can see C9 and Ronin also trading back and forth a little bit. But yeah, everybody just kind of finding their position.
Yeah, Envy is heading towards this western location on Pachinki. So we've got squads rotating on both the eastern and western edges of Pachinki. Render Esports and this little compound directly to the west of Pachinki, being able to hold that pretty effectively right now, as Envious is on the Church and Church Hill. EG, though, Evil Geniuses occupying this garage building directly to the north of Pachinki. I mean, so all of these squads are now effectively getting very solid compounds. Envious a little bit exposed up there on the Church Hill and pinched in between Evil Geniuses and Render Esports over there. So a little bit of a tough position. Blue Zone is encroaching onto this safe zone, so we will see our next circle coming out shortly.
Duck with the dirty Car 98 shot onto Frolicker. Frolicker trying to transition in between a couple of buildings to get a little bit more information. Solid's going to try to make his way over to him, but Solid also... Ooh, Duck, can you get this shot? He's going to try to throw out the smokes to get Frolicker res, but he's so exposed right now.
Yeah, Cloud9 very exposed. Duck with the Car 98 8 times and suppressed, just trying to throw these shots out. It doesn't look like Cloud9 is able to effectively see where they are, but his teammates' fire will now alert them of that direction. He's going to pull off of the shots as he was taking a little bit of fire from that Cloud9 position. Texas now with the 4 times on the suppressed Car 98. I mean, these guys are kitted. This Ronin squad is absolutely kitted, and they have advantage on this entire field. Moody separated. Frolic are still bleeding out. They're trying to get him up. Shots now are erupting from, I believe that it's Grunto Esports in the southern edge of this circle. It is popping off Poro.
Looks like the last member of Trigger Happy, Fear Me, was... Oh, Moody made it out of his shack! Hooray, Moody!
Out of the shack.
Happy. We're happy that Moody made it out of his shack finally. But it looks like the last remaining member of Trigger Happy was taken down, so Fear Me goes out. That's going to be our first team wiped. Ronin already trying to start their transition to their next to the next spot that they want to take, sending Texas out as a scout. Moody doing his best to lay some shots down on him. Ooh. Little shaky there, a little wobbly, a little Bambi on ice legs there as he makes his way through. And no, he gets...
Yeah, not exactly the field that you want to be on a motorcycle. And I mean, that field has tons of little bumps and divots in it, and just getting rained down on by shots from Set to Destroy, who has now moved towards this hill directly to the south of Pachinki. They're going to be occupying this and has great vantage on the town of Pachinki itself, and especially this field. They're now pushing up onto Kolda of Ronin, who is now separated from his teammates at this barn, being very aggressive. Rift is pushing up. Duck, though, trying to provide some support. Fignaldo ends up spotting him, getting the headshot onto Duck, so not going to get that support, but Kraken ends up actually pulling up to the compound, as well as these two squads are playing very aggressively, trying to rush and secure this compound. Rift putting out a lot of shots. BenQ5 as well, getting a headshot onto Rush Soko off screen.
This is such a good push from Set to Destroy. Such just no hesitation whatsoever. They got the down onto the first member of Ronin that was transitioning. They got the down onto the second member, or they got shots into the second member, Coldamenta, who was going for this compound. They got another down onto the third member, and now Kraken and Coldamenta are now stuck essentially in this compound as Set to Destroy decides the best way to breach this. And it looks like they might actually just be deciding to hold the walls around it rather than try to breach it directly. Maybe throwing some grenades in, just hoping that maybe they can get it down here.
Kraken trying to peek those angles, seeing if he can get sight on these players that are surrounding the building. It's going to be Set to Destroy with 4 members up surrounding this 2-man squad of Ronin inside the barn. Looks like they're going to opt to disengage a little bit, leaving VTV as the only Set to Destroy player up here on the wall just outside of this barn. Off screen though, we saw Tempo Storm racking up those kills, but it looks like they're in a very interesting position. They've opted to rotate out of their previous location, but they took out, I believe, maybe 2 or 3 members of Rush in the process. So, playing true to the story of the evening so far is this Tempo Storm squad just dominating in terms of kills.
Yeah, they're just putting themselves into good positions where they can pick up these kills. You can see the last couple of remaining members of Rush holding down this compound, but Tempo Storm just stalking the edge of the circle like the predators that they are, looking around for anybody who might be able to populate their kill feeds here shortly. But the new circle has popped. All these guys are going to have to transition in once again. You can see the remaining members of Rush are going to have to get on the move, while Grunto also going to have to move as well. But they're going to have Tempo Storm right behind them, nipping at their heels.
Yeah, a lot of teams are going to be rotating into this next safe zone. You know, the teams that were essentially playing edge in the last few circles are going to have to push into this very small circle now to work with. A lot of teams now already securing compounds inside of that safe zone are going to be looking out. We see Tempo Storm getting very close to Rush, who they had engaged with in a previous circle, maybe a few minutes ago, actually. We see your boy Drake cutting inward, separating himself a little bit, but Rush's Yusuf ends up colliding into Envious, who had secured this compound. That's going to be a 4-man Envious squad, raining down shots onto Yusuf and exploding that vehicle. Caden getting the kill.
And Filthy had to slam on the brakes and throw it in reverse in his Jeep because that UAZ was already smoking in low. As soon as they knew where Envious was, he knew he could not progress any farther in the vehicle he was already in because it was low immediately. See Tempo Storm pushing their way in, but they're going to be running right into Grunto. And there's another fight that's popping off here as Ronan and looks like Team 13 Set to Destroy finally decided to say screw it and just push this and get these kills, and they are able to go ahead and pick up those last 2 kills. Actually, no, Coldamenta's still alive. As
this is
letters here.
This is certainly interesting. Fignaldo going down, so a lot of between the Set to Destroy squad and Ronan. I mean, certainly not how we expected this to play out, being that Set to Destroy was essentially 4 men, a 4-man squad versus this 2-man Ronan squad inside of that barn. But now we swap over to Tempo Storm, getting the down onto that trigger for, I believe that's Grunto Esports. So a tough loss for them. Bad Seed now trying to retreat from this and get some cover away from this Tempo Storm rush on the southwestern, pretty much southwestern edge of this circle. They're going to have another great hill to work with.
So sorry, but now that I've had time to think about it, it looks like what happened was Set to Destroy decided to push that 2-man in that compound, and essentially they just got destroyed. I mean, the last 2 remaining members of Ronan were able to hold off the assault, and now Set to Destroy down to 1 player, and these 2 remaining players from Ronan still holding this compound. So. I have no idea how to say that. That is a whole lot of consonants.
TFI. I think we're
TFI.
TFI. Yeah.
Okay. Well, vertical. To vertical.
Sure.
Vertical.
Yeah.
Vertical. Oh no! Wait. Legit rift. You idiot! You put that freaking word backwards just to screw with me. I know you did. So that is legit rift. The last remaining member of Set to Destroy. I'm sorry, you're not an idiot. You just I'm an idiot because I just now realized what the hell it was. But you can see Tempo Storm still making their way in. You see Team 9 still full force as they make their way on this northern part of the circle. 4 PUBG players. I'm not sure if they have vision on Trifecta. I think they know that they're there. All their arrows are pointing in that direction. So both teams are aware of each other's presence. They're just trading shots back and forth. This next circle is going to kind of define whether or not they have to engage this fight or not.
Yes, certainly. Smeagol using that beautiful new, reworked 2x scope. But yeah, that next circle has now come out and shown itself to these players a little bit to the west of Pachinki, but still leaving in a lot of that a portion of the town, that western corner of the town, where I believe that it's EG, Evil Geniuses, and Cloud9 are now very close to each other on opposite ends of the street. This is going to be Zwants and his teammates of EG getting in a very solid compound. Those garage compounds are probably one of the most solid compounds in the game in terms of being able to defend them. And they're going to be able to work with it. Frolicker possibly spotting out these teammates, though, or these enemies in that compound. Looks like Zwats has now been spotted. Frolicker popping out shots with that suppressed M416, not able to connect fully, but shots are now coming out from both squads. Solid FPS being taken down by Zwats in the process.
Yeah, and Frolickers, you can see how quickly he goes down there to get that res. If EG decided to push this, they'd be in some serious trouble. As see the rest of Cloud9 kind of in a place where they can't really provide too much to this fight, except for maybe a little bit of cover. And yep, here the teams off to the north were finally forced to fight each other. And you can see Team 9 coming up better.
Yeah, this is going to be Render Esports in this eyeing onto this envious squad that was pushing out of the barn directly west of them. So they are going to be decimating them as they approach. 2 downs now, as 2 remaining players now pushing into this compound where Ronan was. Check shooter getting the down and kill onto Benlong. 1 player remaining for this squad as Zampa is now rushing in from Tempo Storm, trying to play spoiler in this engagement.
What is going on? There's 3 teams all scrapping here at the same time. You can see Render has been taken apart. Meanwhile, Envy, the last remaining member, I believe is Check Shooter. Render actually still has 1 player as well in Dash, as Tempo Storm kind of coming in here. They're going to get the res onto Dre, it looks like. Zampa just holding this down, waiting. They know that there's probably still a couple of people in here, but they don't know. They don't want to push it too. Oh, he finally gets vision onto Dash, and Dash landing some great shots onto Zampa, ripping apart that vest. Dash is also going to have to hold it down. Oh, but Check Shooter finds BenQ5, and he's going to hold this door. Will he? Oh, if he tries to peek to finish this off, he's going to be in trouble because Dre is right there waiting for him to do it.
Yeah, those
Very
tempos.
patience.
Yeah, those Tempo Storm teammates are now aware of Check Shooter's presence as well as Dash's presence across in that garage building. So it's certainly a cluster of chaos as these players are now going to try to figure out what they need to do next. This blue zone is encroaching on them, so they might be pushed out of this compound soon enough, and it will be a very chaotic push if they have to do so. But I mean, looking at this circle, Poro, we have a lot of squads that are currently safe in that Pachinki area that are sort of spotting these outlier teams that are fighting on the western edges.
Absolutely. You can see actually Team 9, 4 PUBG players taking some serious heat from Team 12. Trifecta. Team 9 already has a player down. They should be able to get the res off before the circle forces them to push in, but Trifecta just laying down the shots right now onto 4 PUBG players. They have much better position here, and Team 9 is in a world of hurt. Oh, Check Shooter actually just wiped. Check Shooter just wiped Tempo Storm. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we'll have to go back and talk about that in a little bit, but right now Trifecta just holding down 4 PUBG players, and they should be in circle though, so Trifecta has to kind of think about where they want to go next. They are fairly not centered, but they have really good positioning here. They can't just let this last remaining player of Team 9 survive and cause them any types of problems. But they also have to be very well aware of what's going on to their north, because they've been spending a lot of time making a lot of noise here.
Yes, certainly. Cloud9 has now rotated a little bit out of that compound or those buildings that they were holding earlier when they were engaged with EG. Evil Genius is now opting to spread out a little bit around this hill also. So, you know, these teams are sort of playing this a little bit safe, a little bit patient, trying to wait for these circles to unfold before they opt into fully committing into these engagements. Zwant spotting a member of Cloud9 over there, putting out a little bit of damage onto Frolicker.
Well, C9 still has some really dominant position right now. They already have a player that's in circle, 2 players in circle really, so they have 2 choices as to where they can go should they decide to move. Evil Geniuses also making their way into the very eastern part of this circle. Everybody's just holding down this southern part. The southern part is going to be really hard to transition into. You can see Coldamenta, I believe the last remaining player of Ronin, making his way in. He's going to try to stay as sneaky as possible, but he's going to about to run right into Riem and Nomi. And the rest of Evil Genius is here. Oh, he actually gets the down onto Riem, so giving himself some cover to move in. Nomi is now very well aware. Riem is going to be giving him that information. And ooh, you see the shots already coming across. Coldamenta taking half, but this is going to be from Trifecta. Coldamenta has nowhere to go, and that's going to do it for Team Ronin as Moody ends up finishing off the kill. And Watts.
Yeah, so Cloud9 in a very good position currently. They've got at least 1 compound to work with. The compound that I believe Moody and Chappie are currently holding. Chappie in the sniper tower. We have Trifecta though, still holding this this church hill right now, getting a very good vantage on the Zwats from EG down still in Pachinki. They've got the vantage on them. They certainly have the position to work with. Will they be able to get the shots out though to wipe out EG? EG effectively will need to be pushing into Trifecta depending on where this circle goes. But look at this circle. circle indeed, Poro. It's a very tricky circle, especially for 4 PUBG players as well as Grunto Esports. We're going to have to rotate out of those eastern positions.
Right
Western
on
position,
the church tower, and Trifecta has some fantastic positioning right now. They do have to be careful of their backs. They have to take care of EG. If they can take care of EG right now, they're going to be in really good position to win the rest of this game. C9 has to decide what they want to do here. You can see the rest of them already moving into circle. Do they want to try to make their way up to the top to claim this high ground, to claim the church, the southern part of the church area essentially, or would they rather just kind of hold the ridge and possibly get the kills on anybody trying to move in from the south across this field? Looks like they already have kind of done so, as the southern part is essentially clear. We have one remaining player. I think that's still Dash from Render, still holding down that warehouse, but he's got a long way to go to get into this next circle across wide open fields here.
Certainly a long way to go, and a lot of eyes that are going to be watching for that western transition to come in. Cloud9 in a very good and spread out location. Looks like they have actually spotted out Dash. Cloud9 is going to be raining out some shots towards that barn location, putting out a lot of damage. Chappie ends up connecting and getting the kill, so that is going to be it for Dash and Render Esports. Now taking a look over at Smeagol from 4 PUBG players, who is trying to approach on this same western flank that Dash was going to be approaching from. Frolicker and Moody now aggressively pushing this Churchill. That's going to be Imagine actually getting taken down with a headshot with the M416 by Watts, and Nomi over here in this compound. So a lot of squads now aware of each other's presence, trying to get these peaks and just waiting for these moments to present themselves. And a wicked nade coming out, able to get the kill. That's going to be a fall damage kill onto Imagine. Not even the nade damage that connects.
Gotta love those ragdoll physics. As C9 definitely aware of the fight going on here between Trifecta and EG. They could try to play spoiler here, coming over the top, trying to get angles. You can see Moody knows exactly where EG is, hiding in that house. They can come across and see Trifecta. Can they get a peek? Yes, they can. That's going to be a down for Moody. On to Spray. Think first. Gets the vision onto Moody and is going to down him as well, but not before Moody does a little bit of damage to Think first. Probably not as much as he was hoping for. They're going to go for the instant res as opposed to the kill. So Solid and Chappie actually going to push into EG here, but EG has very strong position in this little bunker type building.
Yeah, I mean, they're evading any type of grenade damage, but unfortunately not able to evade the M16 shots coming out from Chappie. Chappie just absolutely fragging out in this later part of the game. His nade ends up connecting onto Z-Watts, taking him out, leaving Nomi as the only remaining player for EG. Gets taken down now by Frolicker, or no, Frolicker actually getting a kill on, or knock on the Think first. So both of these squads are now engaged by Cloud9. Spray getting taken down very low, about 30% HP, as he's trying to now spawn out some of these Cloud9 members around him.
Yeah, I believe Spray is the last remaining member of Trifecta here. Frolicker has healed up. He's going to get the peak. He's going to try to get the down, but Spray landing all his shots onto Frolicker. Chappie, though, coming around for the kill, and it's going to be C9 versus the last remaining member of 4 PUBG players, Smeagol. Sneaky Smeagol coming in from this western side of the circle. So C9, a dominating performance here, but look at Smeagol. He's like, okay, I'm the last one. I'm going to go try to push this. Let's see what happens. Yeah, that's what happens. Chappie's going to wreck me. Okay, so
that's exactly what happens.
Great. Look at this.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible game coming out. Cloud9 really played that Pachinki area to their advantage. That is the area that they know and love. It's where we have always seen them, pretty much gravitate towards if they are able to, given the circles, and they executed on it very efficiently. Just an overall very good game. Smeagol coming out with a clutch save, though, for his squad, able to really salvage that. He came from the very far west edge, where we thought, it was essentially a dead man zone where no one was able to be able to transition from. And then we also have Trifecta coming in third place. So an incredible game, Poro.
Great game from C9. Great game from 4 PUBG players and Trifecta and Evil Geniuses and Team Render, as you see Cloud9 with another 15 kills. My God, when these guys start going off, they go off for real. But we are going to transition now into our desk segment to talk about this game 2.
Thank you very much once again, Poro. It's Brendan Mac here
Hey.
from Dave and Porosaurus. Game 2 ends, and it is Cloud9, 15 kills, and the win. All I can say is thank God we restarted that game, because that circle, that circle went right to my heart on this game number 2 there. West of Pachinki, you got Church involved. Very, very interesting stuff. I like it a lot. Now, Dave, you seem a little excited. So,
I don't know if it's those 4 wheatgrass shots I just took, or if it's C9, like I said, coming in first place. Chappy. 15 kills. I'm pumped, dude. Send me my money. Just do it now. Send me my money.
why is it always gambling with you every single night?
Dave's about that money.
About that money.
No?
I understand. So, wheatgrass.
Do you understand? Hold up. Serious note. I got to give it a shout out. First official BM emote of the season 2018. Texas coming in hot. I'm sorry that it's on Gunner. Gunner, you my boy and all. You my boy, but damn, son, getting that BM emote 2018. Man, Texas, you the man. I'm gonna have to root for you now, man. I love it.
To be fair, Texas does officially have and
official.
This is 100% official according to this death segment right now. The first ever caught on stream BM emote after downing
Check the
an
statistics.
opposing player. So Texas
5 points. 5 points.
immediately
Official.
you are in the history books for all time. But dude, Cloud9, like
Cloud9.
at the end in the final fight, just they're like, oh, we'll fight EG over here, and we're gonna fight Trifecta over here at the same time, and it's fine. We're gonna win both. Like, not a big deal. Wild.
Easy.
So easy.
That's the
So
Cloud9 that I see in all the other leagues and all the land. That is the Cloud9 right there, making plays.
Well, I mean, they ended up getting a great circle for where their loot location was, and I mean, these guys. I mean, if there's a place that they know, it's Pachinki. I mean, we talk about different circles landing on the essential home turf of different squads depending on where the loot location is, and C9 is Pachinki, at least in as far as NA goes. And they played it to perfection. I mean, they played it like a fiddle. I mean, to the point where they could have Moody AFK in a shack playing Vermintide for half the game, and he still comes out of that with 3 kills and alive. So, I mean, it's crazy. It's kooky. It's nutty.
Shed life.
Vermintide's not going to play
Shed
itself.
life.
Let's be honest, right?
It's
I mean,
not.
you got to
It's
get,
not.
you know, if you have an opportunity, you got to get out there and play.
You do.
No, but in all seriousness, that was a very impressive performance from Cloud9, especially the final fight. I think they really shined with the aggressive violence. They did not have to push around the church when they did. They could have been way more passive and way more patient, but they heard shots and they were like, we're taking this opportunity. They're already shooting at each other a little bit. Let's just go kill everybody. And that's exactly what they did, and that is the Cloud9 that you know and you love. There's a lot of Cloud9 fans. I see the emotes all the time. And they have not been crushing performances in PUBG Online, but they have been doing well elsewhere. So it's very exciting to see it transfer over, get into the PUBG Online as well, climb these leaderboards. And we said it before, you know, I honestly think they can get to top 16 from where they are. I think they're a team that can win enough. They can get enough kills. And that's what's important. They get so many kills when they get wins that a win for them is huge when it comes to points.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
do-
second
I
place.
do-
Second place,
Second
though.
place, good.
For PUBG guys. I like
Yeah.
it. I like it. It's a big win for them.
Well, I wanted to give a shout out to something that we didn't unfortunately get to see on stream because we were in the middle of watching another fight.
One,
But,
three, four.
1v, I think it was
1v3.
1v3. 1v3, but still, check shooter. You're a madman. Check shooter. Just the 1v3 wipe onto Tempo Storm. I mean, we saw how that fight was shaping up at the beginning. We saw Check get the down onto one of them, but you know there was enough time that had passed between the time that we left that and the time that we saw it in the kill feed pop up that Tempo got the res. I mean, that was a legit 1v3 whenever Check Shooter decided to engage upon that, and God, props to him. I mean, that's awesome. That's in not just any team either. I mean, you're talking about Tempo Storm, the team that has been performing so well and been racking up kills left and
Just
right.
won first last game. So
just won first. So God, I wish we could have seen that, but I'm sure the boys from Tempo Storm are kind of like,
Yeah, they don't want us looking
glad
at that
the camera wasn't. I think I saw Dre in the chat saying we disconnected. Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you said.
That's what I do too. I get killed. I'm like, oh, I disconnected. I don't know what happened. Yeah, but I think that's it's huge for NV seeing them out here tonight making big plays. It's right now, it's the teams that we talked about before the night even started. Envious, Cloud9, both not performing well, coming in here, fragging out, playing their game, and it looks like they're comfortable, and that's what's important. Getting comfortable with your squad, getting comfortable fragging out, getting comfortable going and being that aggressive team that we know you as, and that's very important. It's nice to see them kind of get into their shoes and just go off running, just go off.
Absolutely.
To the races. So very, very important. And the zone, I mean, that zone right there, we went from, complete polar opposites, right? We had to restart a game because of the zone, obviously. In case you guys missed it, it was about 200.
There it is. Look at that. It's lovely.
Actually, about 30% of it is not even on the map, which is pretty impressive. So we did restart this game, and then we ended up with one of the most beautiful circles of all time. People were questioning, is the centralization on? And then you saw after the second circle when it moved, it wasn't, but it did look perfect at the beginning of this game. And west of Pachinki, I love it. Absolutely love it. So kind of big things,
Big things.
Big things, man.
Popping.
Big
things
things.
popping.
Let's hope we get another one of those water circles.
Oh
Restart.
My God. You need to stop. You need to
Restart.
knock it off.
Restart. Pachinki, though. I'm loving Pachinki. I love it when the fights are in these cities and towns. And it just pushed out not too far from it. So, Cloud9 was kind of on the P of Pachinki, and they were able just to kind of walk their way up there and just wreck face, man. I'm loving it because this is what I was expecting. We got Chappie off the bench, 6 kills, solid FPS, 4 kills, Moody from the Shed Boy for life, 3 kills, and Frolicker with 2 kills. So, honestly, we got 2 more games. I'm predicting another win from these guys because that's usually what they do. They start off kind of slow, but then when they start building that momentum, they just crush it. They just crush the rest of the game.
Okay, Poro, you were here for EU today.
Yeah, I was.
Now, it feels to me, and before I even say this, like, I have no real intel on this, and I'm not saying that this is what's happening.
Leaks.
These circles seem to be not dependent on terrain at all. And it's one of those things where we had months ago where you felt, oh, it doesn't end in cities, right? It pushes away from the urban environment. Today, during EU, we finished inside the ruins on Stalber, which I have never seen in my entire life. Here, we were on Pachinki way closer than we are normally on Pachinki. We see the circle in the water. Yeah, I've seen circles close, but it seems as though it's almost that like the circles just are not being pushed away from these high populated areas or certain areas that they normally would be. Now, I have no proof in this, but look through your experiences playing even in pub games. If that's, this is a custom, so it's probably different. But we kept the settings exactly how they are. They're exactly how they always have been. And we've had some wild zones today. Some really exciting ones, some really cool ones, and then some questionable.
Where's the flare gun at? How come we don't got flare gun?
Yeah, we immediately turned the flare gun off, by the way. So there will be no flare gun here tonight. Thank God.
We need to get some flare gun action in here.
Flare gun action, 100% water. I'm feeling it.
All right, I'm also looking.
Yeah, what are you looking at?
I'm looking for the second BM emote of PUBG Online history.
I would like to see it out of Gunner.
Gunner.
Yeah. He needs to get it.
I want to see it out of Gunner.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm just
he needs
to
redeem himself.
I would love to see Gunner get it down here and get us a good emote, a little bit of BM. It was amazing.
Can't believe you got laughed at like that still.
Is number one. Texas is number one. All right, guys, 25 seconds. We're jumping into our third game of the night. Game 1 went to Tempo Storm. Game 2 to Cloud9. Who will take 3 and 4? We will find out. I'm very excited to see who it'll be. I have to say, I'm still sticking with Cloud9. I think they're just going to be – it's going to be a good night for them. I can see a huge night out of Cloud9. But let's hop right into game number 3 right now with this guy right next to me, Porosaurus and Esquire.
Bam.
All right, guys, welcome back to the third game of the night here for the PUBG Online Showdown Series. This is going to be the second day of matches for us here. First game of the matches were our first night rather was yesterday, Monday night. But here we are again, third match of the night, joined on the casting desk by Porosaurus. Poro, how are we doing after the first two games of the night?
We're doing good, man. That was a really interesting circle to see that end on church. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before, either casting or in game. So that was kind of cool to see. You see a lot of them end around Pachinki, but rarely do you see it end right on top of church, which is, I mean, it's cool because that's like the one area, like the highest point in that area, right? So it provides a lot of overview onto everything around it. Didn't actually see it play out that way, but really good push from Cloud9. Really good hold on the southern part there before finally pushing in and taking out the remnants of Trifecta, uh, and bringing home a solid win.
Yeah, it certainly was. Our plane has come out. Our players have departed. It was coming out of the western edge of the map, pretty centralized and a pretty good angle as well, cutting the map essentially in half. Teams are going to be opting, for their usual locations, but some early shots actually coming out from Cloud9, who has gone towards that Pachinki area, spotting out Texas. Going to be getting away in that vehicle, but not before taking about 60% of his life. He's going to be stopping now over here on the bike, a very deadly vehicle to be on as well. But I mean, some unexpected early engagement coming out of there, as I believe he was the only member of his squad to land in that Pachinki area, trying to contest this Cloud9 drop.
Yeah, it's kind of a ballsy play there from Texas, going and dropping in Pachinki with the sole purpose of getting that trike. Kind of interested to see if Cloud9 actually has any vehicles left in Pachinki. They might have to transition on foot into this sector, which shouldn't be too bad, but they do have to make it a little ways. They are definitely. I feel like you can definitely sense that Cloud9 is loving having the ability to loot Pachinki right now, rather than going south. They've definitely opted more towards their old ways of looting the city rather than doing that kind of split looting strat that they've been doing with the yellows, and you get better loot off of Pachinki for a 4-man squad. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, no, you certainly do. We saw that Tempo Storm was a little bit split up there to the west. They've got one player solo looting Gatka, one at, I believe, God Compound as well. Yeah, we see them at BenQ5 over on the coast, and your boy Dre over in that God Compound area directly to the east of that. But, I mean, yeah, the circle, Poro, first circle of this game, number 3. It's going to be in the north. A lot of squads, though, with these northern circles, I feel like the southern edges really get compacted and really get chaotic, with so many squads coming in at that angle.
This is actually kind of interesting. I don't know if this is an intentional power move here by SSG, but you can see H-Win. Usually SSG kind of all land right there at Ferry Pier and maybe just a little bit north into the compounds just north of Ferry Pier. But you can see they're starting to stretch a little bit farther into Gatka, starting to take away a little bit more of the options here that Tempo Storm usually have when they do their southwestern split strategy. It doesn't look like they should encroach upon each other anytime soon, but that's something to kind of keep an eye on as the weeks progress here. If SSG starts kind of muscling out Tempo Storm a little bit, or if Tempo Storm kind of pushes back.
Yeah, certainly something to take note of. I mean, these two squads have been landing near each other effectively all night in the matches that they were actually able to, to land there. So, whether or not they can test these areas is going to be something that we look at over the next few weeks. Benlong, however, engaged with Filthy over on Rush's team. A lot of shots coming out. Benlong able to connect with that vector, takes out Filthy, but we do have Borjuzzi coming around the corner trying to get shots on the Benlong. Benlong at very low HP ends up being taken down with the shotgun by Borjuzzi. So a rough loss for Rush, but at least able to secure that and walk away with a kill.
Yeah, Benlong doing his best to cause a little bit of a problem here for Rush, but it was not going to end up being the case, as he does take one member, but he ends up losing his own life in return. So Rush now down to 3 members, but for their trouble, it looks like they are going to get a free crate there up to the north with Mr. Soko. Everybody else just kind of doing their own thing, looting their normal locations. But we'll start seeing these players start to move in and having to some of them having to make some pretty long transitions to this first circle. Oh, and there's an M249 somewhere. Little Fuzzy Seal is smiling.
Yes, certainly, aka the car killer. This thing absolutely shreds vehicles. And in these games, especially the pro games, when you have these transitions, I mean, you got to be aware that there are guns out there that can absolutely decimate you in the vehicle that you're in, depending on what sort of HP you're working with and how exposed you are. But with that, we look at this compound that Borjuzzi actually was able to secure by getting that kill onto Binlong. I mean, they did lose a player in that engagement. However, they have one of the most centralized locations on the map and a very good building at that to defend this compound. So, they lost a teammate, but I think overall they're in a very good position in terms of where this first circle landed to play off of that.
Absolutely. And one of the kind of an interesting thing to note, and it's kind of different than what we've been seeing as far as just kind of overall lately in terms of transitioning into this first circle, everybody's taking their sweet time about moving this game. Usually you start seeing people as soon as that circle starts or pops, you start seeing people start thinking about, okay, well, maybe we should wrap up our looting phase a little bit quicker than we normally do. But I think with the lobby being only 13 teams tonight, just from having lost teams, these teams are figuring out that they have a little bit more time to loot. They can afford to push later, as we were talking about earlier, and not really be punished for it in the way they would in a normal size lobby. So it's going to be good for these teams as they move into later games, because it means they're going into these circles and going into these engagements with more loot and more meds. They can afford to peak more and all this stuff, and can afford it to kind of take these fights a little bit more than they're used to. But it's something that you probably won't see too often, these late transitions.
Yes, certainly. I don't think this is something that we are going to see often, as we do see Envious's check shooter raining down shots onto one of the squads transitioning right below him. That's actually Rush, possibly the other members of Rush, trying to meet up with their teammates who had secured that compound. That's going to be Yusuf meeting up with Borjuzzi and Soko. So yeah, they are one player down from that earlier engagement to secure that compound, but they are going to be reuniting and now able to hold this compound as a 3-man squad. Great bicycle view right there. Love it.
To see if it was gonna fall or explode. On its own,
yeah.
As every motorcycle that I've ever driven in history is inclined to do, just explode for no freaking reason while I'm driving it. Everybody else is fine. No, Poro drives it. No, let's blow up. Why not?
Right,
anyway,
no,
not that I'm bitter or anything, but you can see Envy has decided to take this one, the compound just to the west of Rush. It's a little bit downhill. It's not exactly the best compound, but it does provide a lot of line of sights around it, and it has some walls to work around that are pretty easy to get cover behind. But I doubt they're going to see too many people transitioning up here. So this, while being a safe spot, probably not the best spot if you're looking to pick up a bunch of frags.
Yeah, certainly. I don't expect them to be, getting into any immediate combat soon. But one thing to note, Poro, 8 of the 13 teams in this lobby are not in the safe zone and have to make a transition somewhere around the map. Some teams a little bit further than others. But as we see on this western edge of the southern portion of the map, we might see a lot of teams running into each other. Cloud9 needs to transition, possibly running into Trifecta here in the school and apartments area. But then behind them, we have Space Station, who also needs to transition. And behind them, we've got Grunto Esports. So a lot of teams coming from this western edge.
And you can also add in Tempo Storm to that. Meanwhile, Trigger Happy and Set to Destroy also could run into each other whilst transitioning. You also have Ronin that's going to eventually be making their way from military. So it's really going to it's going to be interesting to see what pathing these guys take to get into this next circle, and if they end up running into each other. You can already see Ronin is making their way across. If Trigger Happy is on top of this, they could be able to get a few cheeky kills here. I've been casting EU too much with too many EU broadcasters now. I'm talking about cheeky kills, God help me. But it looks like Ronin should be able to make it through here unscathed. Fear me not getting a good enough angle here. But yeah, it looks like Ronin should be fine.
Yeah, Ronin opting opting not to take the road through Milta so far. It looks like they're all going to be cutting off and driving through the field. Fear Me, though, pushing over towards this path, is trying to get some eyes. Duck colliding with one of the hay bales is going to get stuck, giving Fear Me possibly the opportunity to take some shots. He's going to be shooting and not connecting as the vehicle ends up getting out of his line of sight. Duck taken to very low HP as he is trying to get away. Fearme trying to connect with those last few shots before he loses line of sight and not able to. It looks like Ronan is now going to take cover essentially just directly east of farm, or possibly just reconvening with Kraken as they now are departing towards the northern area of the map, still having to transition into the safe zone.
Well, if we've learned one thing about this new patch, the M4 is still absolutely disgusting. If you find one, drop anything else that you have and pick it up, because it'll do you solid wonders towards the later parts of the game. You can see Shraded still trying to get a few shots onto Kraken as they flee into the circle, but now Trigger Happy has to make their own transition, and hopefully they can do so without running into Ronan.
Yes, certainly. We see that Cloud9 has now transitioned as well up from that Pachinki area, holding the road in that compound just directly north, a little bit south of school. They're going to be holding that as a 4-man team currently inside of that little garage, which gives them a lot of sort of vantage to look out and possibly get shots out at transitioning vehicles, being that they are holding one of those edges of the circle. And a lot of teams actually have to come from that that direction anyways. So they certainly might get what they want if a squad ends up transitioning through there, but they are very spread out. Looks like a 2-2 split, as Chappie and Frolicker are going to be in this warehouse, leaving their other 2 remaining teammates across the road.
Well, it's a good split for trying to pick off a few shots, as Chappie and Frolicker can take shots on anybody who's trying to drive through the field. Meanwhile, Moody and Solid can kind of take shots at anybody who might elect towards driving down the center of the road, or even just to the hill to the south and east of them. But it doesn't look like anybody's going to be going that way, so they'll just be content with playing the edge of the circle, taking a safe spot. And meanwhile, 4 PUBG players kind of making their way up to this northern edge towards Severny, and they are all alone. They're not going to be seeing anybody for quite some time, but they can pretty much have their pick of where they want to go in this area. Whether or not they decide to go on Severny is another thing, but Jesse taking some shots on, can't see who that is. Oh, that's so
Rush.
Okay, so
Yep.
Rush is finally transitioning out of their the spot that they've been holding down since the early game. New circle popped off of them. They decided to move quickly. Definitely a good decision on their part, as Envy had vision on it. Actually, they run into somebody. Oh, Yusuf, you ran over your own teammate.
Yeah, an unfortunate thing to happen, but it certainly does happen sometimes. Looks like Yusuf's going to be able to get Soko up without. Actually, they are taking shots from the south, I believe. Yeah, Envious still has their eyes on them in that compound. They don't exactly have the height elevation to work with that vantage, but a lot of squads now in this area are going to be hearing these shots. Shots now raining out from Grunto Esports as Bad Seed spots Vignaldo and Set to Destroy, transitioning across the southwestern edge of the previous safe zone. Vignaldo, or rather,
Legit rift.
legit rift, hopping out of the motorcycle, gets downed almost immediately by Bad Seed and taken out of the game. So that's going to be a loss for Set to Destroy. Vignaldo continuing that transition around the southwestern edge of the circle in the US is going to be safe from any more gunfire from that squad. His other 2 teammates are actually in the blue zone, making a very wide transition, possibly over a little bit west of where the circle is, up east of Georgia Pole and into the shooting range area. So an interesting play, but shots just raining out from the center of the map, Poro.
This is a really long transition from Set to Destroy. They must feel comfortable in the amount of meds that they have in their ability to tank the damage that they're going to take from this blue, but they just they just don't want to go through the southern part of that circle. That southern part of that circle just seems so either too lit or just too congested. They're just not wanting any part of it. So opting for this far north blue push western approach be a lot more safe if you have the meds to pull it off. And actually, speaking of safe, EG running into Trifecta, and that was not safe at all. That's going to be 2 members of EG down, and Trifecta picking up a sweet, easy 2 kills as the exploding UAZ makes its way down the mountain.
Yeah, all 4 players still remaining for Trifecta, and all teams alive still in the lobby. A lot of players have been dying across the map, but so far no squads have been wiped off yet. As we see the circle is sort of opting this western area of the previous safe zone, and we still see Set to Destroy trying to rotate off this very, very far southwestern edge that has been in the blue zone. So yeah, they're certainly taking a lot of damage in doing so. One thing to note, though, is Tempo Storm's location. We'll get back to that, though, in a second, as Yusuf is now spotting out a vehicle to disable over here by this by the shack. But yeah, Tempo Storm's location is very interesting. It's a little bit south of Severny, but it's a very strong choke point for any teams that are going to be coming in. They are in a 2-2 split, separated between the road, but very, very strong compounds to hold.
Is a very good spot to hold. Is you can get vision up onto all that hill, and then if you go into the house that Maluk happens to be in, you get a little bit of vision onto the hill just to the west, or east rather. So they've got a pretty good split here, but nobody seems to really be wanting to contest this at all. So they're just going to have to be content with taking some long range shots, maybe damaging some armor and nicking a few helmets off here and there. But as this next circle is finally pushing in, you can see Set to Destroy have made their way into circle. They are just north of C9, who have also transitioned into this far southwestern corner. It's going to be interesting to see where C9 decides to go here. They're definitely opting on playing the edges rather than trying to make a move for center lately. And it obviously worked out really well for them last game, as the circle just kind of favored them. But as they're having to transition into new circles, it looks like they're favoring the edge rather than trying to make a bold move towards the center.
Yeah, they certainly are. 13 teams still alive. The next circle is up, so our teams will have to transition a little bit off of that southern and eastern edge of the map. I mean, a lot of these squads holding the compounds, it looks like Tempo Storm just got blessed. Again, story of the night. They have been in very good circle locations, and that has really played in their favor, as all of these squads now are trying to rotate off of the southern edge. Check shooter spotting Ronin coming through on this rotate. Ronin just taking shots from everywhere so far in this game 3.
Yeah, this is almost, it's partially a blessing, but it's also, check shooter gets run up on by Ronin. He thought they had left, he thought they had driven through, but instead they decide to come around, and now Caden is going to be, that was a sweet little power slide into cover for Caden as he hops out of this vehicle, and Jesse Lowell also going to be providing cover as well. They know they have 2 downs onto Ronin. There's 1 remaining member in here, and that is Duck. Duck is also going to take a lot of shots, and that's going to be it for Ronin. Wow, what? Yeah, that was wild. That was crazy.
Just incredible fights breaking out here. We had 2 squads in this yellow building. This is going to be Envious and Ronin right there, but they were also getting refereed by Tempo Storm in this compound that we previously talked about. And with this circle that we're now working with, Tempo Storm's compound is so incredibly valuable and is so, it's just powerful in terms of what they're able to do. We see, however, 4 PUBG players spotted out Trifecta on their rotate, putting out a lot of damage, able to get the explosion onto Think First in his vehicle, taking him out of the game, end up connecting again with a headshot onto Wayland, taking him out. 2 members down for Trifecta, leaving them in a 2v4 situation. Imagine trying to get some sort of advantage as to where these teams are that are shooting at him, but taken down very low himself, able to get a prone position on this hill, as I believe Master Nook and the rest of Evil Geniuses have now spotted them out as well.
Trifecta in a very bad way right now, as it doesn't look like 4 PUBG players are actually going to push this. They're just going to go ahead and move to their next location, but EG has them pinned down very, very tightly. They are in circles, so they don't have to worry too much just yet. They can just play it safe, but the second that they are put in a position to where they have to move, EG is going to have them under wraps. And you can see more shots coming out here from Team Render, as that trigger decides to drive by their location. They're not going to have any of it. They don't want him driving by. See, Team 4 here is Grunto is being pinned down as well by Render. So they're going to try to get in this UAS and get out of Dodge as quickly as possible. It looks like they should be able to. God Dominus already very, very low. If he takes 1 more shot, they're going to have to stop again. But it looks like they should be able to get out of there. But they're still taking these shots. They do manage to make their way under the hill, and they're going to be able to reconnect with their last teammate. But one thing I wanted to mention, oh no. And God Dominus goes down again. But you knew that was going to happen. He had next to no health. They should be able to get the res and he'll be fine. But one thing I wanted to talk about, Tempo Storm. We mentioned that they are right in the dead center of the circle right now, which is a blessing, but it is going to be an absolute curse if the circle pushes off of them and they are forced to transition away from them. If you look around that compound, there's nothing but open field. They are in full vision of anybody that's near them. So they've got to basically hope that this circle keeps favoring them and they can keep staying in this compound until the last possible second that they have to move.
Yeah, certainly not a lot to work with. If they do have to move out of this, they pretty much given away their location to all the squads that have taken cover around these buildings. So if they do have to end up leaving there, I mean, they're going to have a lot of eyes on them, as they have certainly been putting a lot of hurt on these surrounding squads. We see Envious over here in this yellow compound that they secured earlier off of Ronin, just trying to basically hide and avoid these shots. I mean, your boy Dre and the rest of Tempo Storm have spotted them. And look at this circle, Poro. It just doesn't stop. All of these teams that have been playing the edge are going to continue to have to transition into these circles. And we already see off of the western edge of the map, team number 10, Space Station Gaming, is opting to get that quick rotate. They're going to be taking cover around this bunker just to the, I believe, just to the west of where Tempo Storm's location is.
Well, this is a very dangerous position for Space Station to be in, because while they do have a little bit of cover at that bunker, they can still be seen by Tempo Storm, and they have C9 that has the high ground right above them. We have, we were talking about circles that we haven't seen very often. This is a circle that we see quite a lot, actually, if it comes up to this area where this compound that Tempo Storm is favored until very late game. But a lot of the times when you see these circles come in, this team that's in C9 position that has the high ground ends up coming out with a lot of kills, and you can see Soko already being taken down. So it's going to be interesting to see how C9 decides to play this, if they can get the kills onto Space Station. And oh no, yeah, Tempo's not dealing with anybody driving around their area. They are holding that down so tightly, and I don't know what else can you say. Tempo just has the favor of the circle, and they're having the shots land.
Well, yeah, the interesting thing about that engagement that just popped off was Rush was trying to get through there. Actually, your boy Dre got the down on Soko. However, H-Win over on Space Station Gaming around that bunker just to the west of where Tempo was able to steal the kill away. So those are going to be kill points going over to Space Station Gaming, taking them away from one of the teams that has been fragging out the most this evening so far, which is Tempo Storm.
Master Nook having to make this late transition for Evil Geniuses. You can see there were 2 Evil Geniuses players in Severny. Now there's only 1, as he is the last remaining hope for his team to get a little bit higher placement, but he's having to transition into this circle that has very little cover here. And who's gonna basically take the kill at this point is the only question, as Master Nook decides to run right up onto Tempo Storm. Has full health still. He's going to go. Nope, Maluk's going to take it.
Yeah, tried to get some shots off before he ended up being down, but was Tempo Storm was having none of it. Maluk took him out almost immediately. A crate dropping right in the midst of all of these players. A very good crate as well. It's got the level 3 helmet, a med kit, 8x scope also. So certainly great utility. But this late in the game with so many squads nearby, it's going to be a death crate, as it is wide in the open. Trifecta with 2 remaining members alive had now spotted the remaining team members of 4 PUBG players. Schaefer taking some damage from Imagine's shots. Imagine trying to line up a few more shots as he now got covered behind the tree, but takes damage himself, popping the first aid and losing his helmet. He's going to now try to get some information out to the remaining teammate.
And meanwhile, the circle is moving in right behind them. Trifecta in a very bad spot right here. They're going to have to try to play this terrain as best they can. Their only shot is to maybe move a little bit further south, but they have eyes on it. And yeah, that's going to be Smeagol getting the headshot onto Imagine, who had already lost his helmet. Spray is going to do his best to try to make his way into the circle. He's moving, looks like he's moving right directly into 4 PUBG players. And the second they notice you, you're in trouble. Fortunately, he hasn't been noticed just yet, but he's going to have to tank this blue for a second.
Yeah, I mean that's not minimal damage either. That's certainly enough damage to be concerned about, as he now is going to be spotted out and taken down by Young Bay. So that's going to be it for Trifecta. That was essentially an engagement that they had to win prior to the blue pushing onto their backs if they were going to have any sort of chance of getting into it. We now see the next circle coming out. It is going to be essentially favoring Envious and their squad or their compound that they were able to pull off from Ronin. Those yellow houses a little bit south of where Tempo Storm is. Tempo Storm going to have at least a part of a building to work with on this northern edge, but not much. We look now at Fear Me, Cover Fire Machine Gunner over on Trigger Happy, now trying to approach this hill, holding pretty strongly here on this southeastern edge of the circle.
Yeah, Yeah, we still have 30 players alive with 8 teams remaining, so there's quite a few 4-man squads still up. While the circle does favor Envy, it's going to be interesting to see how Tempo Storm decides to play this. They don't have a lot of, they have parts of their compound that are in. There are walls that they can play there, but they're not going to be providing a whole lot of cover. They are going to have to move eventually here as Cloud9 starts to make their way in from the I don't want to say northern side, but the uphill side of this. Cloud9 has some great positioning here. And you can see actually they're transitioning right as SSG is transitioning behind them. So SSG might actually end up taking the position that Cloud9 had as Cloud9 decides to move into this little area, this little defilade that provides a little bit of cover. But they're going to be taking shots from the uphill here very shortly. They've got to be careful here.
Yeah, not a lot to work with for Cloud9. It's a very good thing that they were able to transition into this late game phase with 3 vehicles to provide that cover. That, you know, it's just so standard for Cloud9 to be using. It's, you know, it's something we usually see them breaking into this late game with, but they are going to be spotted by Render Esports' Mr. Blown Apart, who takes some shots, ends up getting a headshot and losing his helmet in the process. So a lot of these teams now are aware of each other's presence and have advantage on each other, especially on this hill, as I believe that is Space Station Gaming coming down. H1 taking shots from Ant Bando. I'm just going to call him Bando.
Out the Bando.
Yeah, Antho out the Bando, but taken down to very low HP himself. So people are just getting knocked all over the map as Fearme for Trigger Happy gets knocked. That Trigger over here for Grunto Esports trying to use this route for any sort of cover gets taken down though by Moody actually from across that map. So C9 just playing spoiler from wherever they can.
Yeah, C9 playing spoiler, but they are still in a very rough position. They have to be well aware of what's going on 360 degrees around them as they are going to get rushed from the top of the hill, and they also have to keep eyes on Envy and Tempo as they start making their way out of these compounds. You can see Space Station Gaming still 4-man strong, holding that position up at the top of the hill where C9 just was. And the last 2 remaining players of Ronin, or not Ronin, I'm sorry, Render, starting to make their way a little bit out of the range of Trigger Happy. As Trigger Happy are deciding to take out the last 2 remaining players of 4 PUBG players. Machine Gunner does get the down onto Wolf. Kaisuko steals the kill, and Moody gets the down onto Schaefer. Who's going to get the kill? Actually, it's Moody because that was the last remaining player. So that's going to do it for PUBG players. And you can see Tempo Storm has actually managed to make their way out of their compound onto this nice little ridge here.
Yeah, I mean, just shots coming out from everywhere. But look at this next circle, Poro. It is actually favoring Cloud9's position. It's going to be pushing Envious out of these yellow buildings that have protected them so well over the course of the last 3 circles. Tempo Storm also going to have to push from that northwestern position. But also on the western side is Space Station Gaming with a beautiful position. They've got a little bit of tree to work with. However, they are spotted out. I believe that's going to be Envious's Caden, who ends up getting a headshot with the M416 onto D-Master. Moody, however, spotted out Caden after those shots went out. So Cloud9 trying to watch all of their flanks, getting some shots out, cover fire, throwing some smokes, trying to provide some cover for Heat and the rest of Trigger Happy as they will have to rotate pretty much from this southeastern area of the circle wide in the open. So the smokes are going to be very clutch if they provide enough cover for them to actually rotate.
Yeah, you can see Trigger Happy starting to make their way in. They're using the smokes as best they can to make their way into the northern part of the western part of this circle, which is providing the most high ground cover. But they're going to be running into the last 2 remaining players of Render here, so they're going to have to finish this fight fairly quickly as they're going to start attracting attention from everyone else. Render already taking the shots, trying to tell them, no, you can't come here.
Yeah, and unfortunately the other...
look at this push. Tempo Storm pushing into Envy. Looks like
Jesse...
actually... Sorry, go ahead.
No, Jesse's trying to get some sort of advantage on this. He's BenQ ends up being taken down. Zampa unfortunately goes down by himself in a car. So Tempo Storm being essentially decimated here on this push, not going to be able to do much, and that is going to be it for Tempo Storm as Envious is able to hold this compound a little bit longer and wipe out the only team pushing into them from the north side.
It's really well played by Envy, but it was such a tough position for Tempo Storm to be in. As we mentioned earlier, moving out of that compound is just the worst. You are basically exposed to anybody who's around you because there's nothing but open fields. They did a really good job of getting to that ledge, but weren't able to finish off the push on Envy as they were taking just too much damage from everywhere. You See, Jesse's already taken super low here. Jesse, actually the last remaining player, he's sitting on next to no health, and they are just getting decimated by Trigger Happy right now. He's got some great shots coming across. They're actually doing the same thing to C9, but C9 striking back. Gunner, the last remaining player, and he's going to go down to Chappie. So C9 holding this position that they've taken, this very vulnerable, very exposed position that they're in, but they are just doing work from right there right now. You can see Jesse still alive, managing to, he's going to have a long way to go to make it into this next circle. And you have 2 remaining players from Space Station and then 2 remaining players from Render as well. So all of these players are going to have to transition into this next circle. And the question is going to be, whose shot is the sharpest right now?
Yes, certainly. Cloud9 in a very vulnerable position after that engagement, as they did have 2 members get down. They are able to get those revives up, so Cloud9 will be working with all 4 members still alive. I believe all 4 members. Quite the advantage in terms of what is on the map. Cloud9 actually only has 3 members alive, so it's 4 teams remaining, 8 players on the actual map, and it really only favors Render Esports in terms of where the circle is and who is actually able to get in there. Cloud9 pushing north into where Envious' Jesse LOL is waiting right by this UAS. I believe he was spotted out, and Moody is going to be trying to take some shots. They are able to land and get a headshot onto Jesse LOL as H-Win for Space Station Gaming is connecting off the map onto Bando. So, I mean, pretty much all of these teams are engaging each other and then ending up in engagements with the other squad that is still on the map. 3 teams now remaining, 6 players alive as Moody connects and takes out Bando.
It's an interesting push from Cloud9 to go push out into the circle, essentially, to try to get the kill onto Envy, and that's going to be a down onto H-Win here, as C9 still has 3 up. Dash is all by himself here up for Render, but he does have the circle, so he doesn't have to move yet. Everybody knows where he is, it seems like, but they can't really do much about it just yet. Vexel is also moving in slowly from behind Cloud9. Cloud9 actually opting to get into vehicles. They, I guess, figured there's not enough players left to really blow us up should we decide to shoot at us. So they're just getting into vehicles and moving into this next circle, getting into a position where they can take out Dash. Dash under heavy fire right now. You can see C9, blood in the water.
Yeah, Cloud9 in a very good position to win this. However, Dash 32 connects with a headshot on the M416 onto Moody. But I mean, yeah, Cloud9 had 3 up. They have 1 player currently knocked. Moody bleeding out very fast as he was previously knocked. 3 teams remaining. It was currently a 3v1v1, now a 2v1v1 as Cloud9 is trying to decide what to do. Moody trying to crawl out, possibly back to his teammates to get the res. However, they're not going to be able to as Dash 32 is eyeing down on solid FPS and trying to rain some shots out in the prone position. Has enough cover to avoid any sort of line of sights from Cloud9 themselves. It is now going to be a 2v1v1 situation.
Oh, they know exactly where Dash is, but Dash unfortunately was not able to land the shots onto Solid. Solid at full health, Chappie at full health. Dash is going to throw out these smokes, try to reposition a little bit. Looks like he might want to make his way left towards this next circle, but I'm not sure it's going to make a difference as this next circle, you can see already Vexel has made his way in, but as we all know, smokes, when you start getting towards the end game, almost more dangerous to use with the blue background than they are to not use them. So Cloud9 opting instead to make their way around the southern part of this, the northern part of this circle, looking for the last remaining player. Vexel doesn't have vision on any of this. They should come across. They do see him, and they are going to get that kill. So it is now 2 remaining members of Cloud9 versus Dash. Dash has no idea where C9 is repositioned to, as you can see.
Yeah, Cloud9 is going to be coming off the northern edge of this safe zone, completely unaware. Dash was trying to rotate into the center of it.
So slick.
Gets spotted out, solid FPS, ending game number 3 with a headshot with the M416 onto Dash. So Cloud9 coming in with a first place finish. I mean, just incredible play out of Cloud9 tonight. Like we said, I mean, they're really performing like the Cloud9 that we are used to seeing at these LAN tournaments. I mean, where they just absolutely dominate the scene. So, you know, very, very, very good play coming out of Cloud9.
That was such just a slick, smart, sneaky rotation there at the end. They knew where Dash was, but instead of trying to push up into the smoke and try to push him, they instead elect to make their way around. And basically, you could tell Dash had no idea where they moved to. He was looking over there where they were for the longest time. before he eventually had to make his way into the next circle and just got wrecked. But again, great play coming out from Cloud9. A really interesting reposition that I can't wait to talk about on the desk here. That worked out for them, but at first, I got to be honest, I didn't think it would. So we're actually going to take it to the desk as we load up for our final game of the night, but we'll see you very shortly.
And it's Cloud9 once again coming out with a win in an incredible fashion, a very dangerous center location that they opted for in the center of the circle. But they're able to defend it, able to get the frags, able to get the kills, and able to get the win. Now, Dave, did the wheatgrass shots wear off? You're a little calm now? Everything's all right?
I mean,
Okay.
I'm just not surprised. I said it. Once when they start building up that momentum, it's a done game. I mean, that I believe like the third to last circle, they were playing the edge the whole time, as Bora mentioned. Then all of a sudden, they're like, hey guys, let's just take it. Let's just take it for us. And that's what they did. They went straight to the middle and just started shooting everybody. And they were being aggressive. I mean, they were even going outside the zone. They took out Trigger Happy. They took out Envy. I mean, they were just taking out people left and right at the end there. And 11 kills, so not as high as last game. But, yeah, I mean, these guys just coming out game 3, super confident. I'm going to be curious to see how they actually play this in the next game, the last one of the night, as we tend to see these teams kind of just, they're a little tired, a little exhausted, right? So they kind of lag behind and make some decisions that they might not have made, say, game 1 or game 2. So I'm going to be, I'm interested to see if they're going to keep up with this momentum and still be performing as they are right now.
Pora, you said you wanted to talk about the rotation there in the final circle. By all means, go ahead. It was a beautiful sight to see.
I mean, I'm going to be completely honest. When they gave up that high ground position to take the position just to the east of Envy, it was kind of a little plateau. There was a little divot there, but not much. I really thought that was going to be it for them, because you still had Team 10 that was Space Station that was pushing in from above. You still had Render coming in from above. You also had Trigger Happy that was coming in from the side that also had vision down into that little defilade that they were hiding in. That was 3 teams that all had kind of wide open shots really onto where C9 was, and they, for whatever reason, weren't able to get the kills, or they were able to get downs, but C9 was able to get the reses off somehow, because I guess through some coincidence or fate or circumstance, all these teams ended up shooting across at each other and not being able to all really focus down onto Cloud9. So I'm surprised that it worked. I'm happy to be proven wrong, but I was really kind of nervous for him when I saw them take that position.
Yeah, it was definitely a risky play heading dead center there, and I think that we saw a lot of pressure coming out of Trigger Happy specifically. Gunner was able to get a second down, leaving Cloud9 with only 1 player up, but was killed off because of their position, which was just, I mean, Trigger Happy had no chance of running into that zone. They were running down a hill, and everyone could see them. So they were coming in from the east there at the final circle. It was pretty brutal, but they put a lot of damage out on Cloud9. And at a certain point, I was worried. I was definitely sitting there hesitant, thinking that they might be in trouble, but able to recover, able to get the 2 reses up. Moody moving south, which is weird. It's weird to say because he's going south, but he's going uphill, so it makes you want to say north. Going south, actually actually getting downed and killed off. And I was a little worried again for Cloud9, but they made the perfect decision, which was heading and wrapping all the way down south, completely line of sight the player that you were under pressure from, and it's just so vital. Here we see, Moody moving down, getting the kill onto Jesse Lowell. So important to clear that out. Just great plays from them. And there's the kill onto Moody that I was worried about from Dash, but Chappie decides to move around, gets the kill onto Vexel. Solid just taps him in the head there, and then the 2v1. Easy kill onto Dash, who had no idea where they went. So I think the movement there from Cloud9, when there was just a few teams left, was just perfect. I think
very smart play.
Talking about perfect, though, I mean, let's talk about Ronan taking out, I believe, one member from Envy, and then almost immediately Envy returning that favor, rushing that compound, wiping out Ronan. I mean, that was pretty perfect. That was some textbook, revenge, if you ask me.
There's just something in it, man. It's just envious. Like, oh no, you do not
right here.
kill my friend. Yeah, this is it. Check
all
shooter
happens
on
so
your
fast.
face. Look at all the
On point.
pressure right here.
Look at
Just
that.
so much. Check shooter actually going down, and
I can't believe Check Shooter got the 2 downs on that right before he was able to get knocked out.
well, it was Jesse Lowell that actually got the second there from range.
Oh.
So that's what's so important. As soon as Jesse Lowell gets
Interesting.
the second from range, they're like, whoa, we have 2 downs. Let's go. Let's just, and they
Let's
just hop in the
go.
vehicles, gun it, and able to just get the wipe and the great location. And that's what's so vital there is, it's a dangerous situation. Ronan pulls up on Check Shooter under so much pressure, does end up going down and getting killed off, but they're able to turn that into a win by the way they play it. Even though they get 2 downs, they could have just left them and like, oh no, they got the compound. They're like, no, this is perfect. Let's go. Gun it. Envy pushing like Envy used to, and I love it. I love seeing Envy like this, man.
I mean, talking about location, though, Tempo Storm, they had a pretty decent location for a long time, but then being forced to push out. I mean, they were kind of racking up at least some hits, as all these people, and some kills, as people were just, transitioning through the zone. So, I mean, if the circle continued to land on Tempo Storm, honestly, I was like, these guys are going to win it. They're going to win it. But, we saw what happened.
That's just the way that compound. It seems that's the way that compound always is. If it's in the circle, it's one of the strongest compounds in the game. The second the circle pushes off of it, you're screwed essentially.
Yeah, screwed.
Especially if it's a late circle.
And moving south. I'm surprised that they got so far. They got so close to Envious there. That's huge. Zampa pushed up solo, gaining that ridge, and was like, hey guys, I'm not getting killed. And it was like, oh. Let's go, and they were able to move pretty far. Normally, leaving that compound south is just so dangerous and so brutal, but they were able to pull it off, get in, and put a ton of pressure onto Envious there. Unfortunately, it did not go the other way. They weren't able to frag it all out and hold down the new location. But I think the way that they left with Zampa taking the lead there was actually really good in a bad situation.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it was the only play that they really had.
It was definitely a tough situation. Dave, your eyes right now, you keep staring over at something. Oh,
I'm just wondering who's not really performing tonight, that we kind of hoped to, right? Like, who's been having just a rough night?
I don't even think Set to Destroy's had a rough night, but I think Set to Destroy has been playing so well that they were one of those teams that I was like, Set to Destroy can walk in here, get 2 wins, get all top 5s across the board, and mind you, they have not played bad. I don't want to say that they've played poorly because they haven't.
No, you just said that, but it's cool. It's cool. It's the last game. It's the last game. But
it's all Cloud9 right now. It's all Cloud9.
It is.
Right
It
now.
is.
2 wins and a 5th, looking awesome.
Looking awesome. But I'm gonna say let's go Set to Destroy. Don't listen to Jabroni. They were super strong week 1, week 2. I believe they still got it in them. All they need is a little circle luck, baby, and they can win the game. They're a strong team, a decent contender here in tonight's game. So honestly, I'm on that bandwagon now. I don't care what you say, Jabroni. I'm on that bandwagon. I got my 2 wins for Cloud9. I'm already up. So I'm already in the money. Double or nothing right now. If Set to Destroy takes top 5, double or nothing. I mean, you heard it here first. It's live. We live, boys.
Dave, you're just completely taking what I say and changing it completely out of context. I think Trigger Happy's had a great night. I'd like to see them get another top 5 here. But dude, hey, I'm rooting for Cloud9 here. Get the 3 in a row. That's what I'm saying right now. I would love to see it. And now we're only 15 seconds away. It is the final game of this evening for North America and the final game of the week altogether. I have sat through. This is game number 16 for me. So let's kick it right into game right now with my man Porosaurus and Esquire.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Game 4 of the evening, our last game here for the PUBG Online Showdown Series of the week. I am Esquire, joined here on the casting desk by Porosaurus. Poro, how are you doing?
Hello again. Hello again. I would say I'm tired, but I'm so hyped out of my mind off of sick PUBG action that I could go another 2 hours. Oh, look at we get a we get a sub. We get a sub for Trigger Happy Terran Tragedy coming in hot tonight to get some frags for the squad. Love to see anytime we can get one of our favorite players to come in and they are looks like they're going to land at their normal location, and everybody's going to kind of do their own thing. Ronan going back to Military Island. We got Trigger Happy going to Milta. Meanwhile, Set to Destroy going to Milta Power. Rush actually in a kind of a weird place or places. They decided to do the Sverny, the classic Sverny Milta Power split.
Yeah, that you read so much about.
Yeah, that you hear so much about in stories. And actually, Pachinki actually looks like it might be getting a little bit of contention here. C9 having to contend now with. Oh, that's not Pachinki. Never mind. That's just Ronan dropping to get himself a vehicle to make his way over to Military. But Pachinki, okay, it looks like actually Bad C, Blitz, and that Trigger and God Dominance, they're all going to go ahead and do a long parachute drop and give C9 the go-ahead on Pachinki. Trifecta looting up in school and apartments. I'm going to assume that Render is in Razak. Yep, there they are. And look at this circle. We have a northwestern circle. It's kind of a fun circle to see. I love it when these circles, of course, we saw kind of a north central circle. I hope that this one goes to those fields north of North George because I feel like you see some really good, intense firefights and action happening when they go up there.
Yeah, those fields in particular north of Georgia Pole, they actually have some really cool hills to work with, as well as the actual field type covers, such as the hay bales and little structures that you have along that area. But with this circle, Poro, I bet a lot of the players are like remake. But with all this water, but no, it looks fair to me. It looks like just kind of your run of the mill water circle that you're going to see in some of these games. So pretty standard, but a lot of the teams are going to be very packed into that area. Not a lot of landmass. Rush is filthy out here in the water. It looks like possibly, yeah, he's swimming, so not disconnected or anything like that. But he's in a tough spot. Not sure what his plan is.
I'm guessing he might have disconnected off the drop, and maybe Yusuf did as well, and that's why they ended up where they are. But it looks like they have managed to reconnect, and they have managed to find these buildings to loot. So far, avoiding the boys from Set to Destroy. Hopefully that holds up for them as Rush Filthy slowly makes his way out of the water onto land. That does suck for Rush, but they are good enough to overcome this initial setback, hopefully. But we'll see what happens. So you see, actually, Squad 10, Space Station Gaming, we've seen them go fish or ferry pier pretty much consistently all throughout tonight and all throughout the last couple of weeks, but it looks because of the plane path and maybe the fact they weren't able to find vehicles, they've decided instead to do this farm split, which you don't really see too often from these guys.
No, you really don't. And, especially in this area of the map, I mean, farm isn't the most attractive area on there. I mean, there's a few buildings to loot, but not really any of those prime buildings that you look for across the Erangel map. Looking here at D Master now, trying to loot one of these compounds and hone in on some more gear before they're going to have to make that transition into that northwestern circle here in about 2.5 minutes. But one thing to look at, if we can pull up the map, is the fact that there are a lot of teams that are going to have to transition into this circle. And, this is probably one of the hardest choke points on this area of the map up here where the Georgia Pole Bridge is, right near Razak as well, where a lot of these teams are going to get, sort of jam-packed in together. We already see a few teams opting to transition there. We see Tempo, Storm, BenQ5, and Zampa a little bit split up from their teammates in Ruins, but holding that edge. I mean, I think we might see a lot of action on one of these first transition phases, Poro.
So smart from Tempo Storm. They usually do the southwestern drop, but they've sent Yabudre all the way up to this God compound simply because of that fact. It's called a God compound for a reason. When you see circles like this compound is so strong. You can see everything around it. It has the rooftop access. You have the water to your back. This is such a good compound, and the fact that they sent Dre up there so early is just that's a great decision by them.
Yeah, it certainly was. You saw Zwats of Evil Geniuses was actually trying to scout out that building. So,
Oh, so was Caden.
Yeah, a few teams certainly had their eyes on it, and your boy Dre was able to secure it and kind of fend off any of the other scouts going out currently. I mean, we haven't actually seen a lot of scouting tonight, so we certainly did see it there. Not a lot of real risk for them, as it was just a solo player up in that compound for Tempo Storm. But Zwats is actually going to opt for a compound directly to the west. Not a bad compound, just not as favorable as the one that your boy Dre was able to secure.
Absolutely. Well, you see, kind of counter to what we've been seeing in the past couple of games, a lot of teams are considering rotating into this circle earlier rather than later, and that is definitely the right play, because this circle, just given where it is and given the choke points and given how hard it is to transition into that northern, anything north of the river, it's definitely the smart move to try to make your way up there sooner rather than later. And a lot of these teams are already figuring that out. Any of the teams that try to transition late are probably going to have a rough time of it, but we'll have to see how it works out.
Yes, certainly. I mean, it sort of all depends on how congested this area south of the map is going to get. I mean, we do have 13 teams in the lobby. So as we've mentioned, kind of throughout the night, it sort of makes for a little less riskier of a transition phase. But when you have circles like this, I mean, it almost sort of negates the fact that you have less teams in the lobby, given the fact that, you don't need as many teams to cover this area. And certainly if teams begin to play this edge, if you're a late transitioner, I mean, you're going to have a lot of issues coming through some of those gatekeepers.
One of the things I'm kind of surprised that we're not seeing is, squads of 4 maybe grouping up together and just transitioning to one of those choke points and holding that down to try to pick up some kills, like that bridge right by Fishtown, just to the west of Razak. There's a really good compound there that can be held, and you can see Zampa and BenQ5 holding down a compound right there, but I'm talking about directly on that bridge, right just to the north of Fishtown. That would be a good bridge to hold. You can see Think First, Wayland, and Spray making their way across a bridge. There's a couple of buildings just in Razak that you can kind of hold down there that could, really kind of mess up the transitions for some of these late rotating teams.
Yeah, it certainly can. Blue Zone is now pushing in on our players, so going to begin to push a sense of urgency on them, as Nomi is spotted out by the players of Rush, trying to get some shots out on Nomi. Riding in the Dacia along the coastline is going to be able to avoid them for the time being, but now going to be in the line of sight of Borjuzzi, who was trying to line up some shots that SKS not able to, but effectively defending their Severny location, telling Nomi to keep scouting, continue along that coastline. But unfortunately, I don't think Nomi's going to find much there, as most of those compounds are already previously occupied.
Well, Nomi has a couple of options here. He could probably go. There's a really nice depression just off to the west of where the God compound is. That is actually a really, really nice place to hold. But it looks like he's instead going to opt to go towards a little bit of higher ground, or maybe, no, it doesn't look like they're going to try to transition over to where Watts is. I'm not sure what they're doing, actually. It looks like Watts has hold of a compound, but the rest of them are just kind of still driving all over the place, looking for something different.
Master Nook spotting Spray of Trifecta, I believe, crossing over that hill just a little bit to the south of him, connecting a little bit, but not enough to get any downs. Master Nook reuniting with his teammates, going to create a little bit of cover with those cars right there in their position. I believe that is going to be where they are going to be holding up for the time being until we see where the next circle ends up favoring. Spray taken down to about 40% HP is going to be seeking cover around this bunker hill, trying to get possibly some meds off. He's got his teammates and they have a little bit of car cover. That UAS is smoking though, so certainly got to think about whether or not you're going to take that into these later transitions.
Well, they do have 3 other vehicles to opt into. Definitely probably would just let that UAS hang out. Probably don't want to be moving too much around in that anymore this game. But if we can actually pull back to the map and let's take a look at some of these transitions, you can see Space Station is starting to make their way in through the Georgia Pole Bridge. C9 finally making their way in from Pachinki, and Trigger Happy taking the long way around going through Yasnaya. Meanwhile, Rush, the last 2 remaining members of Rush, they did reconnect. They were able to get some looting down. They did get a vehicle. And it looks like they're going to make the slow trip to reconnect with their 2 squad mates in Severny that are look like they're holding it down and is set to destroy, is trying to find a place to call home.
Yeah, and actually look at
Oh,
this.
no.
Trifecta is bombing the compound where your boy Dre has been holding for pretty much the entire game, as he had previously split off from the rest of his team to hold this compound. He's got a full Trifecta squad now on his tail. It's going to be kind of retreating into this building for some cover. There's not much he can do if this squad decides to push. He's going to have to hold the stairs and effectively wait for them to kind of trickle in. He certainly cannot engage in some sort of open battle with them, being a 1v4 situation.
And it looks like Tempo Storm might have left your boy Dre holding that compound for too long, as Trifecta has made their way in. I'm not sure where the rest of Dre's squad mates are, if they're making their way over here right now, but that compound is so good. You have to be expecting other teams to try to make moves for it, and Tempo Storm just waiting way too long to reconnect with their teammate. So Trifecta might be able to come out on top of this, depending on how long it takes for the rest of Tempo Storm to arrive.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, Dre's in a very difficult position, trying to use whatever sort of architecture on this building that he can to get vision or possibly shots out onto the squad. I mean, I'm sure he's actually calling to Zampa and the rest of his teammates to come provide some backup, as Trifecta would be wide in the open from any shots coming out of BenQ and Zampa, which I believe they are actually pushing up towards him now. But I mean, this Trifecta squad is now raiding this building very aggressively, going to be pushing through these certain levels of it. I believe they are on the second floor now, kind of waiting, playing this a little bit safe. Spray trying to get some peeks on the stairwell.
Well, look, you can see the rest of Dre's squad mates have finally made it in. They're providing some amount of cover fire from just to the south, so Dre could be safe for now because they can't push up through that door without taking fire from both Dre and his teammates down south of the hill. So Dre kind of in a weird position here. I'm not sure. It looks like the grenades from Trifecta are just not finding their way onto the roof here, as we're in kind of a standoff here between Trifecta and Tempo Storm.
Yeah, your boy Dre just holding his position, waiting for any players to push. But like you said, I mean, they're being held down from another location advantage that your boy Dre does not have on them. His squad is able to get up there and provide this backup that he so desperately needed. I mean, without them, he would be dead to rights. Essentially, Trifecta would be holding this compound. However, Imagine has spotted the backup coming from that southern position. BenQ5 spotted out, not able to connect, shooting with the M416 with the, I believe that's the 4 times on there, but yeah, just not able to connect with these shots.
Some long range shots. He's definitely trying to see what he can do, but even just the fact that Tempo, the rest of Tempo is there, is keeping Trifecta honest here. It's keeping them from being able to push this, and so Dre is just kind of in a really bad way right now. But eventually, it's like I want to see what happens here, but we got to pull away because there's so many teams now starting to transition into this next circle. You saw Trigger Happy making their way from east to west, trying to find a place to call home as they go into the northern part of George. Ronan not being able to set themselves up to take shots here. They might be able to take shots at cover fire if they get vision on him, but it looks like they're just downhill from him. So a good path from cover fire there.
Yeah, off screen we saw Cloud9's Frolicker connecting with shots on the rim of Evil Geniuses. So he's going to be taking down Machine Gunner, trying to transition through this Cloud9 squad. Is able to get through without taking too much damage. I believe maybe just the car taking damage, but he also ends up crossing paths with Ronan, who takes shots. Machine Gunner now pulling up to the apartments where his 2 teammates, Terran Tragedy and Cover Fire, have been holding up. So they will be reunited. Machine Gunner opting to go into the apartment where Cover Fire is. So they will be, in that North George Pole area in a fairly good position in terms of where the circle currently is. Blue Zone, however, will be pushing in that rush squad over to the east.
They do lose Shraded in that transition, however, so Trigger Happy down to 3 players. We see Blitz actually in the very far southwestern corner of this Georgia Pole circle, just kind of hanging out, I guess in a boat, maybe? He's just hanging out in a boat? No, he's just swimming, just hanging out. Oh yeah, he is in a boat. Okay, so just waiting to see where this next circle goes. Just playing it safe, playing it cool. Not sure if he's the last remaining member on his team or not, but that is the play style of a man who knows that he is his team's final hope. So looks like Tempo, your boy Dre, still holding down this roof here. Imagine has made his way up to the top here, opened that door, but Tempo, the rest of Tempo, keeping Spray honest here, not letting him push in.
Yeah, imagine in a very interesting spot using a little bit of that ledge to kind of get a different sort of vantage onto that area while Spray continuously watches that door. And pretty much they know that your boy Dre is out there. They have people watching the outside of the compound. Think first being in that, that Harry Potter tower, wizard tower right in that compound, able to watch the outskirts of that building for your boy Dre pushing off, possibly even getting vision on your boy Dre if your boy Dre pops out of that crouch position. But I mean, yeah, this has just been a pretty much a standoff that's been happening for the last 5 minutes at least. Your boy Dre possibly being spotted. I'm not sure if those shots were from his teammate trying to connect with the trifecta squad pushing up or not, but your boy Dre is going to push behind that little area that gives him the cover right where that stairwell connects with the 3rd floor.
Yeah, the thing is, if Trifecta decide to just push this as a full team here, and it looks like that might be what they're thinking about doing. If they decide to push this as a full team, this might be a smoke here. Yep, that is a smoke. Oh, it didn't end up where I think he wanted it to end up. I think they try to push it all, get Spray down. They do get Dre, so they're going to be a 3-man. They should be able to get the res onto Spray here, and they're going to have this compound all to themselves now. That's really all they needed to do. Was just get up there and push that as a squad. And you can see the rest of Tempo Storm now is electing to push in a little bit harder, but I don't think they're going to be pushing this God compound, as now actually Trifecta is being forced to push out of it. So Tempo Storm a little bit worse off for the wear after losing Dre, but they can now serve as gatekeepers for the rest of Trifecta.
Yep, check shooter spotting out Borjuzzi on that rotation, taking some shots, but not able to connect. This is going to be Team Envious spotting Rush, who was rotating out of that Severny area, now taking up a very advantageous position here on the hills just north of those North Georgia Pole apartments. This northern area of the map being very densely populated as the circle is now favoring north of the channel. So, we see Blitz and his teammates rotating in this boat towards that area of the map. However, Cloud9 in a very centralized location has spotted Rush out on top of that hill and are going to be taking shots.
We can see Antho at the bando already knocked down. Looks like the rest of his teammates should be able to get there and get the res off. But I absolutely love the position of Rush and C9 and Evil Geniuses right now. Those hills are so strong, and they're strong early and they're strong late. And they're also really easy to transition to and from depending on where the circle goes. All these teams that are kind of in these buildings or out in the open fields are going to have a little bit of a difficulty moving should they be forced into it. But when you're holding down these hills, you get all the information of everything that's happening around you. Plus, it gives you that freedom to be able to move from cover to cover into wherever the next circle may take you.
Yeah, certainly. Tempo Storm still trying to hold that building where your boy Dre was killed by Trifecta. Spotting Trifecta rotating out of the building, trying to take a bunch of shots, but not able to connect. We have Borjuzzi now spotting out Schaefer and the rest of 4 PUBG players down here in this Wizard Tower. Schaefer able to connect with a headshot with the Car 98 onto Borjuzzi, taking him down. He's going to be knocked, has a little bit of support behind him, but they need to be very careful as these shots coming out of 4 PUBG players are connecting.
It's a dirty sniper shot from Schaefer. And you can actually see, I'm not sure if Team 12, if Set to Destroy, has vision onto Team 3 here from their position. I don't think they do. But you can see Team 12 is actually taking shots across. That is Trifecta. They have vision on Rush and on Team 9 for PUBG players. So this is starting to get a pretty hectic up here in the northern part of this circle.
Yeah, pretty chaotic indeed, as now all of these squads are engaging in battles. We have Tempo Storm engaging onto Rush. Zampa retreating off of taking a lot of damage, taken down to about 50% HP, is going to be popping some sort of first aid to get his health back up, as Yusuf is going to be eyeing this edge of the mountain for any sort of flanks as he hears these battles erupting to his northwest. This is going to be Schaefer throwing some nades, trying to connect. A nade is getting very dangerously close to Spray and connects. Spray going to be taken down with that grenade as the rest of Trifecta are trying to figure out where these shots are coming from or if they can get a line of sight. Another Schaefer grenade is coming out very close, however, not close enough to put out any damage.
Meanwhile, uphill, Zampa and the rest of Tempo Storm have pushed into Rush. Rush has gotten 2 players down, or at least 1 player down. They've managed to get it down onto Zampa as well. Not sure what the move is here. Looks like Maluk is going to throw down some smoke. They are going to get the res off onto Zampa, but Rush not going to be able to push into get the res onto Yusuf. So Rush playing this very, very safely. I think this might actually be the last player remaining alive, as Filthy just lying prone, trying to stay alive for as long as he can. He's going to try to make a hasty retreat, but nope. He's going to get taken out right in the face by a legit Rift with that sniper shot. So that is going to be the end of Rush, the first team to go out tonight in this final game.
Yeah, first team eliminated. And I mean, we're late game. And for all 13 teams to make it this late is, not something we see all of the time. So that's going to be a rough loss for them. Basically, he was just trying to do whatever he could to stay alive, but was not able to get away as they had him dead to rights and spotted. But battles are now erupting in this North Georgia Pool area as these squads will have to rotate out of these positions to get a little bit north as they are not currently safe. We see shots coming out from Ronin up here in these apartments, which actually are the only safe compounds inside of the circle that are going to be in this Northern Georgia Pool area. They were taking shots earlier over at Trigger Happy as well, so they certainly are aware of a few other squads' presence in that area, as Zampa and the rest of Tempo Storm have now spotted out 4 PUBG players and are going to be spoiling this engagement. 4 PUBG players are previously being engaged with this trifecta squad, so Tempo Storm just completely refereeing these fights that are happening around them.
Yeah, kind of sandwiched here, and he gets a down and the kill onto Spray and the final kill onto Wayland. So Smeagol actually coming up big for 4 PUBG players right now. There's one remaining player for Trifecta, and that is Imagine. I'm not sure where he is, but Imagine takes the shots, doesn't manage to land anything onto Smeagol. Smeagol's going to get up and spray him with the 8x Scar. That is unfortunate, but Trifecta is not going to be able to finish off that kill as Wolf and Schaefer are able to come back around, get the res off their boy. Smeagol, that's a dangerous peak with the 8x Scar.
Yeah, dangerous indeed, and they're going to need to
look at this southwestern part of the circle right now.
Yeah, it's erupting down here as we do have Evil Geniuses being taken down very low. It's going to be Riem taking a lot of damage very close here to the Space Station Gaming squad. H-Win right above Riem trying to connect. Sees Nomi, ends up getting the full kill onto Nomi with the headshot. We have D-Master being taken down as well. So these squads are just fully engaged, trading knocks back and forth. It's going to be, I believe, H-Win trying to get the res onto D-Master up there. Master Nook being taken down as well. Riem in the prone position, trying to avoid any of these shots that are coming out. They are so close together. Vexel popping around the edge of this mountain, trying to see if he can get any eyes on the remaining member of Evil Geniuses, I believe. Riem just trying to avoid these shots. He's in the grass, and I don't believe they've spotted him. Smokes and trees, possibly giving them the cover he needed, but not long enough. I believe, H-Win coming in for the clutch and wiping out that squad. 9 teams now remaining, 31 players alive. Porosaurus. This game is now beginning to get nuts.
This is getting crazy. Ronin is also taking shots onto Space Station Gaming, and Trigger Happy is now moving in just behind them. So Space Station Gaming managing to finish off Evil Geniuses just in time before Trigger Happy decided to make their way up the hill from those apartments to get into this next circle. But they're being held down by Ronin as one final remaining player from Team 4, Grunto Esports, God Dominus, is just going to be holding down that area, trying to stay as sneaky as he possibly can. Ronin actually is this Ronin Trigger Happy fight is going to be really interesting, and somehow Tempo Storm has managed to just dominate this entire northern side of the map, and it looks like they have finished off what was left of 4 PUBG players while all of this other fight was going down as well.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, it's pretty much the story of this game so far. They've been in the north with your boy Dre up there. As soon as your boy Dre got pushed by that trifecta squad, I mean, it drew the rest of the Tempo Storm members up to the northern area of the map. And since then, they've been able to pretty much dictate what goes on in that area. Popping over, though, with this new circle, Cloud9, who's held a very central position in the previous safe zones, is now going to be pushed out a little bit as they're going to have to rotate. But like you said, Ronin and Trigger Happy are very close together, with Godonimus as a solo player for his Grunto Esports team up there, possibly able to referee, but not long enough as he is spotted out by Frolicker with the M416 headshot.
Oof. That is a long distance shot from Frolicker, and that's going to be it for Grunto Esports. But now it's going to be, what is Trigger Happy going to do here? If they push up the hill, the only way that they can get up into this next circle is by pushing up the hill out of the line of sight of Ronin. But if they do that, they're going to be ending up coming up right behind Space Station Gaming. So this southwestern part of the circle is just crazy right now.
Yeah, it certainly is. It certainly is. As we had 8 teams alive, 29 players trying to vie for this. We do have a little bit of a frozen feed, so give us a little bit of a, maybe a chance to see if we can get it back. It is freezing a little bit for us. But guys, this chaotic circle here at the end is providing just a lot of a mess for these teams to work with, and whether or not they're going to be able to come out of this, alive is going to be something that only time will tell.
Well, guys, while we get these technical difficulties squared away, enjoy the game. We'll be back with you as soon as we get our live feedback. All right, I am back. I'm not sure if Esquire's got our vision just yet, but
Oh, I'm back.
You're back? Okay, well, you finally see as the battle that we knew was going to happen eventually between Trigger Happy and Ronin finally pops off. Ronin getting the edge and taking down Trigger Happy, but not without getting damage of their own, as Ronin, Texas has been taken down by Space Station. So Kraken and Duck having to find a way to get around this circle and get an angle to where they can engage on Space Station here.
Yeah, Blue Zone has now pushed in on this safe zone, going to push these players here on the western edge of the circle, effectively to the eastern edge, and these teams in the north are going to all rotate a little bit south. We see, I believe that is, Set to Destroy, opting to get a little bit close to this crate, possibly engaging with Tempo Storm, who has, just been consistently holding this northern edge of these circles. They are going to have to rotate out, though. However, it looks like, I believe Set to Destroy is going to be pushing this very aggressively, almost as if they want this battle.
Oh, Tempo definitely wants this. They know that Set to Destroy was in that compound. They knew somebody was in that compound. You can see Legit Rift has managed to peek this hill, and BenQ5 goes down, doesn't manage to see him before he gets spotted out. So Zampa, lying prone, moves back. That's a full squad of 4 coming up over the hill, and they are going to get the final kill onto... Oh, actually, Zampa's still up. Okay, that's gonna do it. So that is gonna do it for Tempo Storm. My bad. I didn't see Zampa's health bar there. I thought he might have been taken out while he was lying prone. But Set to Destroy loses 2 members there, gets down 2 members. They should be able to get these reses off in time to move into this next circle, but they're gonna have to book it.
Yeah, Blue Zone is now pushing in on them, so they're certainly going to have to hurry to effectively make that push. We see an unfortunate car crash happening. Jesse LOL being taken out by his teammate Caden right there. And this is not the time of the game where you want those, mistakes to happen. They do happen, though, and there's nothing you can do about it as that car actually gets exploded. So, yeah, this is exactly what you don't want to happen. This is Cloud9's Frolicker ends up spotting this chaos happening for Envious over here and takes advantage of it, blowing up the car and disabling those 2 teammates. So Check Shooter is now going to have to figure out what he can do. Kaisuko trailing a little bit behind, taking down to about 40% HP himself. Frolicker now disengaging off of this while his teammates provide him that cover that he needs. 4 teams remaining, 14 players alive, is Set to Destroy with that 4-man squad are going to be now cresting this hill, trying to see where all of this chaos and commotion is coming from.
Yeah, Envy in a very, very rough way right now, and you can see Kaisuko now going down. And Check Shooter, the last remaining member alive for Envy, but Set to Destroy is going to finish him off. Fignaldo getting that headshot to get that final kill. So, but now C9 has turned their attention to Space Station, who was trying to transition into this next circle. They have 2 remaining players, but C9 is being split in multiple directions here. Their attention being split between Set to Destroy and Space Station. So these are the final 3 teams remaining. All of them are able to enter this circle. 4 up for C9, 4 up for Set to Destroy, 2 up for Space Station. So hopefully Moody can get the res onto Frolicker here, but they've got to be watching. Oh, the good shots coming out from Moody, getting the down and the kill onto H-Win. That is going to be 1 remaining player for Space Station and D-Master, and they know exactly where they are. And Ooh, D-Master just getting behind cover before Solid's able to finish the kill. And Set to Destroy actually is getting circle favor here as they are pushing in. They hear this fighting going on. They want to split the attention of C9, and C9 is in a bad way right now. If Set to Destroy push this immediately, they could take complete control of this game.
Yeah, certainly Cloud9 is a little bit preoccupied trying to recover from this previous engagement with Space Station Gaming over there. H-Win providing a lot of damage and essentially disabling this Cloud9 squad and giving Set to Destroy the opportunity to pretty much dominate this map and really locate this circle position. BTV ends up spotting I'm Chappie, taking some shots. Vignaldo ends up connecting and getting the down onto Chappie. 2 remaining teammates for Cloud9 are going to be up at solid FPS, and Frolicker Rift spotting out Frolicker, putting out a bunch of damage, not able to connect yet. Nades are coming out, which disabled the remaining teammates of Cloud9. Frolicker taking down 1 teammate left, a 4v1 situation, and Rift ends up getting the final kill of the game on the solid FPS with a headshot. So that that's going to be Set to Destroy coming in very clutch with a first place finish, and not to mention Cloud9 with a second place finish. I mean, Cloud9's being they've been a force to reckon with and a dominant force in terms of the leaderboards this evening.
What a great finish by Set to Destroy there. They spent majority of this game locked down in that compound just to the eastern side of the fields to the north of North George. But when they finally decided to push out of it, boy, they made it known that they were pushing out, taking out the remainder of Tempo Storm before moving on to the last remaining members of, I believe it was Envy, them making their way through C9. Just great positioning by Set to Destroy. Great shot calling and just really aggressive play when aggressive play was what was called for. So fantastic finish by those boys as well as C9. So this is going to be the last game of the night for NA. Esquire, thank you so much for being here and casting with me, buddy. Do you have anything you want to say before we go out?
No, thanks for tuning in, guys. It was a pleasure to cast for you and alongside you, Poro. An exciting week for PUBG Online again. As you know, we're kind of coming back and getting back in the groove of things after these LAN tournaments over in the EU.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, guys, we are going to throw it to our analyst desk to finish us off for the night. But thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.
And just like I predicted, Set to Destroy getting the win.
Man, I got so much money from you tonight, man. I am on fire. Wow. 2 Cloud9 wins, 1 Set to Destroy win. Honestly, I don't have much to say besides that's it. I mean, I'm just right. That's all I'm gonna say.
I'm just I just get it right all the time. No, Set to Destroy, man. I'm telling you, there's something about the new roster, 2018, Set to Destroy. They're crushing it lately. They took the next step with this squad, and for them to grab a win here at the end of the night, we knew they were going to compete well. They were going to have at least place well tonight. We were confident in that. But grabbing a win is really just the cherry on top, and I think it was a job well done by them, especially a little aggro at the end. I love seeing that, pushing forward. Bringing the fight to Cloud9. Cloud9 is second place, too. So a huge night for Cloud9. They're going to fly up the leaderboards.
Yeah, it was really kind of unfortunate for Cloud9 at the end there. They had great positioning, but their attention was just, their attention just got split between trying to finish off these last 2 remaining of Space Station and then the pressure that they were getting from the northern edge from Set to Destroy. So Cloud9 just got taken a little bit too low. They were a little bit spread out. Their focus was just not quite there on the most imminent threat, which was Set to Destroy. But I mean, they kind of had to take care of the position that they were in. They had to take care of SSG before they could turn their focus. But Set to Destroy really taking advantage of that and pushing in at the exact right time, showing aggression when aggression was exactly what was called for.
Absolutely, I completely agree. What did we just come back to there, Dave? That was great. Checking out the mustache, just making sure it's all combed over nice. As you can probably tell, I also
Strong
have
mustache.
a small mustache going.
You're looking good, man. You're looking.
Thanks,
You're
appreciate it.
looking.
Appreciate it.
I mean, you guys are looking
It's
phenomenal.
like blonde though, so it just doesn't have the same effect
Doesn't
at all.
pop.
No, it doesn't
Yeah,
pop at
yeah.
all. I'm trying.
I mean,
I'm
it's
doing my
nice.
best.
It's
Thanks.
nice. I like your hair too. It's nice.
Oh,
Yeah, I
Okay.
like your hair.
this is
It's nice. But
Like
yeah,
your
I
shirt.
mean, honestly, all seriousness, I honestly, I'm just like, I'm not surprised, that I called it, but I don't know. I just don't know what to say. I just don't know what to say.
I'm not surprised that I called.
Tempo Storm, though, putting in some work.
Absolutely.
Okay. Talking about teamwork, very early on, we had Dre, right, locked down. And Tempo Storm's ability to kind of just keep pressure on Trifecta to not, let Dre die right away, I thought was kind of good. I mean, he eventually got rushed when they figured, hey, he's by himself. They're not going to come and provide that backup anytime soon, so let's just take him out. But their ability to kind of, just provide that initial cover, I thought just demonstrated some decent communication skills. I know Poro's over there making all these faces, but
I'm making faces.
I'm allowed to have an opinion. Come on, man.
No,
Come
it
on.
has nothing to do with your opinion. Your opinion is absolutely
They
correct.
should have helped him, though, right? I mean, they kind of just left him there.
That's a position that they shouldn't have been in. If they had transitioned, they left Dre up in that. I mean, it's the strongest compound up there for that circle. You know that compound's going to get pressured, but they took way too long finally getting over there before they were able to kind of delay the fight. But Dre just shouldn't have been in this position in the first place. He should have had at least one other teammate there with him. You can't expect a solo player to hold down one of the strongest compounds in that circle for that long. But to their credit, Tempo Storm doing their best to kind of remedy that mistake, and at the end they ended up getting a lot of kills and holding down that northern part of the circle for a really long time until Set to Destroy finally made their move.
I think we had a big night for a few teams. First of all, it was nice to see Envious. No placement better than a fourth, which is a little disappointing, but very consistent. 6-7-4-4. I felt very good about just aesthetically watching this team. Envious looked good tonight. Tempo looked good tonight, fragging out. Really, really confident play out of them. I think smart play out of them for the most part, especially the movement where they decided to go. Cloud9 fragging all over the place, looking like champions tonight. And then Set to Destroy, just like we said, we expect this team to do well, grabbing a win to end the night. A great position for them. Unfortunately, I expected, Space Station Gaming. Their placements were pretty good. A couple of third places coming out of them. Would have been nice. I'm a firm believer in the former Pecadores roster that is now Space Station Gaming. I think they're a very, very strong team, and I think they are, once again, I said it earlier, I think they're a team on the rise. I still think that, and I wouldn't be surprised if towards the end of the season, in any league that they're in, they're towards the top of the leaderboards, especially.
I mean, Poro was on Pecadores day one, so honestly, I got to give it to this guy. He's a day one Pecadores fan.
Day one.
Day one.
P1 day one. Well, and I've got a lot of high hopes for Pecadores because we have our last major LAN coming up this next week where and Pecadores, Ghost, and United all playing really, really well right now, and I'm hoping that transitions into a really strong performance at LAN for NA. And of course, the last great hope for NA, everybody's favorite North American team, TSM. Can also kind of bring that home for us as well. So really looking forward to some really strong performances coming out of these guys upcoming.
America's team, if you will.
America's team.
I heard
think-
Shroud's on TSM.
If I'm not mistaken, actually TSM, I'm not gonna lie, I love that new kid Rory. I know TSM is not a PUBG Online team.
Hey, they're playing really well.
But I
Yeah, they're doing
love
great.
the
They're doing
addition
great.
of Rory on that roster, I have to say. Poro actually will be at PGL. So Poro's gonna meet Pecadores.
How do I do?
I'm
in
only
the
gonna watch it
squads
for
that
him.
are over there. So very exciting times. Exciting times.
I'm gonna put
That's
10 O's in my name, just like Smurf.
just like Smurf, just a bunch
Yeah.
of Fs. Smurf
A
10
bunch
Fs.
of-
What is it? How
bunch
many
of
is it?
O's at
It's
the
10, right?
10 F's.
10.
10 F's. Smurf with 10 F's.
Yeah, it's just
That's how you know you made it, right?
I'm gonna take a picture with
more
Prophet.
letters
So.
in your name.
gonna take a picture with
Yeah.
Profi. By the way, Poro's 6'5". Didn't know that till I met him. Nobody told me, and then all of a sudden they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, he's 6'5". All right, cool, great. I'm barely 5'10". I'm 5'10".
Used to be in the
pads.
NBA before this, I heard.
Actual
Oh, really?
human.
Yeah.
Dave, how tall are you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we're completely off topic here. Dave, how tall are you?
I'm not telling you that. Man.
Because I feel like you're like
That's
6'8".
personal.
17
Whoa,
feet tall.
6'8".
And I don't know how tall you
I
are.
wish, dude. I wish I was 6
He's
feet.
he's a Ibiza
Is it-
height. I think Ibiza's like I'm just throwing a rough estimate like 72 feet tall, just from the
Jesus.
pictures that I've seen.
That's close.
He-
of
That's
Ibiza.
close.
he's a tall guy.
Actual kaiju.
I look short though, right? Like I look like a short
No,
guy.
you look tall. That's why I'm asking you how tall you are.
Oh, I mean, I'm sitting in a chair right now, so.
Is it a secret? Is it a secret? Is it like something that you don't want to reveal?
Listen, I already
the height
had my
of mustache
identity
shape?
stolen, so I'm not trying to have it stolen again by you. So I'm just gonna keep that personal information personal, all right?
Okay.
Yeah, by the way, what's your mother's maiden name?
Oh,
Yeah.
great, great,
I don't
great.
know.
What's that 3-digit number on the back of the card? Okay.
Oh, I'll tell you that.
Poro,
Grew up on.
Poro Dave, thank you guys for joining me on Death Night. Poro, of course, also on the cast with Esquire. Job well done. Some great games, some wild circles, some exciting wins, and a lot of teams fragging out. Great to see. Thank you to all the viewers and all the moderators, and of course, all the wonderful players. And Sifl and Sap. Oh, he pointed back at me.
Another great week. Good job.
Another
Jabroni.
great week of
I
PUBG
know I
Online.
give
We're
you-
going to be back
I
at
know I
this.
give you some stuff. Good job, man.
Thank
Good
you,
job.
thank you. This is, of course, the end of
Get
this
him,
week
Dave.
of PUBG Online. We will be back again next Monday for EU at 2 p.m. Central Time and NA at 7 p.m. Central Time. So I hope to see you there. And I guess that's it. So signing out. Thank you guys for watching.
Softly, softly, the thoughts that invade my mind break me, I can no longer tell time. Mayday, mayday. thin. Just wanna get out of this trend. Deep when the sun goes down, I feel I have to go. I'm searching hard to know my mind. I just wanna go. Hey man, you heard it's too small. We're used to live out of control. I'm standing in the water, watching the warm deaf American nature. I don't know how to stop the passion. I don't know how to stop the man. Sometimes I feel my skin is too thin. Just wanna get out of this trend. Deep when the sun goes down, I feel I have to go. I'm searching hard to know my mind. I just wanna go. Oh, when you commit to a path, I guess you were on your own. Follow your dreams to a place, a space, a place that takes you home. You don't have to tell me once or twice, wonder why we're here. We just gotta stop the flood before we lose it all.